Hello, good evening, and welcome. You are through to Inview Connect. Inview Connect is a new show in the week because I know that many of us are stuck indoors, locked in our little prison cells and all sorts under house arrest, however you want to call it. And we have nobody to talk to. Some people living on their own, some people, NHS workers, want somebody to talk to, or anyone. This show is open for all of you, every single one of you that wants to interact with this show. Inview Connect is very much about not having guests. It's very much about spontaneous calls that come in with their views that they want to put over. It doesn't have to be the view of what I'm saying. It can be anything. I come on this show, and the only reason I do the Inview and the Inview on Sundays is because I want to get out there to tell people what I'm not happy about, as well as bringing up other subjects as well. I know that we are in a coronavirus moment at the moment, which obviously is on everyone's lips and everything. And this is a steady, ploddy show, if you like. And don't feel embarrassed to contact us. Don't be shy to text us. The number is 07403 436 942, or you can message me on that number as well, or you can Facebook message me at Clint Denyer, or you can WhatsApp me at Clint Denyer as well. So there's a lot of lines of communication open here. Now, I know there are many people out there doing their bit, doing whatever they can do at this time to actually enhance people, help people, and I hope in some way I'm helping people as well. A weekend we have shows with people that we have on as guests, and these people that we have on as guests are people that basically come on to talk about all sorts of different things, as well as subjects that we're talking about, and obviously talk about themselves. It's very spiritually based, and everything I do is spiritually based. And as we get every week, comments and things come through, and some don't get on. Hello, Gemma. Welcome along. Look forward to the show. Yeah, I've changed my hair tonight. It's gone a bit rainbow style. You know what I mean? But it's all right. It's good. It's great to have you on board, and everyone else that's listening or watching right now, and all those that are being catch up later on. And thank you very much, because we are up to 22 subscribers to this channel now, which is fantastic. It doesn't sound a lot, but it's new. We're on YouTube Live, which is different because actually the picture quality and sound quality is better on here, and on Facebook Live it was crap, basically. A lot to talk about tonight. I want to talk about other things as well as vanish, as Daniela calls it, in relation to what's going on, and also want to talk about a bit later on things like a particular story that somebody drew to my attention, which was a 10-year-old boy that got a 15-year-old girl pregnant, or 13-year-old girl pregnant. I'm not sure. I'll come back to that shortly. I want to talk about that later, because that is just off the radar. And I want to talk about age gap in marriage as well. What do we think about that? But right now we're concentrating on the normal sort of subject, unfortunately, but unfortunately at the same time, because it is for me in my destiny path, as not just a spiritual person, but as somebody that I feel has to tell you something that's not right. And it's interesting that after the shows I've done the show on Sunday, and after that show, Piers Morgan the next day is asking all the similar sort of questions that I was actually posing the night before. I have a lot of respect for Piers, and I do watch GMTV because he does get underneath the wire. But before we go in, Facebook message me or WhatsApp me if you have any particular comments about the show or anything you want to say. We read them all out, as you will see tonight, because we had some feedback from last week on Sunday, not on the Wednesday show last week. We are now going to sit on Thursday, by the way. I'm not going to mention names. No names will be mentioned in any of these messages. But we did have a comment. Hi, Clint. You probably don't get many. You probably don't get young people following you. I don't know why. I mean, it could be any age gap. Basically, we have all types of people listen to this show, but I totally disagree with Linda Bassett. Now, Linda Bassett was a guest on the show on Sunday. You might not take this seriously, as I'm a young person, but the young people are a new future. Yes, I totally agree with that. The coronavirus is a serious matter. Yes, I know it hasn't got that much of the population yet, but there is still 10,000 died from this virus. Even babies have died from this coronavirus, and even healthy people have that have no underlying health conditions. I know people with coronavirus, so I take this to offence with what this lady said, and it's a very serious matter. Selfish people are making it carry on longer. I'm not being funny, but do you think? Hang on a minute. I'm not being funny, but do you think everyone wants to stay inside? Because I certainly don't. I still want to have my social life and go back to college and get my grades and carry on to make my future big. But no, I can't do that because of stupid people like this. If people don't take it seriously, then it's just pathetic. The people that don't take it serious are Liggett killing other people. I'm not quite sure what she meant there. They are murderers. If we stayed in and stayed with what people said to do, then this would be over. What do you think? The government has told us to stay indoors. I'm sorry, but this is affecting very many countries, not just ours. And if it happened to be one of your loved ones, how do you feel? Apparently the US is going to get worse than Italy. That's just the start of it. Okay, I said before, we read all comments out. That's somebody that didn't agree. Hello, Cusbro. Jason McCousins, join me. I do feel, any views, that's what this program's about. Any views can come on here. And I do understand what she's saying in there. But I can assure you that we do not make light of people that die on this show, because it's very sad that anyone dies. And that's not something that I take light, and neither does any of my guests. And, if we don't seem to be taking it seriously, because unfortunately, the other side of the coin inside this whole virus situation is the fact that there's a reverse to what we see, a reverse polarity. And I will just point out, actually, was in the news today that actually is on the BBC, and was on a BBC channel and reported coronavirus. And unfortunately, that's a statistic, because that's what they're putting on their death certificate. But as the BBC already outlined today on their so I just closed that on their yeah, 9 in 10 dying with virus as existing illness. So basically, it looks like that coronavirus is a topping point, if you like. Can we just take a rain check on this for 1 minute? Because one of the most important factors to remember, that we want to keep things, this is what we were talking about on the show. Hello, Kerry, welcome along, Kerry Wallace. We were talking about on the show on Sunday with Linda and other people as well. We want to keep things as live as long as possible. But unfortunately, there is an essence here. The essence is the fact that we are born, we grow, and we evolve. And at some point, we are not here and we pass over. Now, I do know that it's an emotive subject, death, and it is something I'm going to talk about on this show in the not too distant future, because it encompasses all, because it comes to us all in the end. And we do not make light heart of it at all, but we do talk about it because it's important. There are people that if I said before, if no one died, we would be so overrun. We wouldn't have anything. We wouldn't have any food. We wouldn't have nothing. People are born, people die. And our LDOmeter.com is a running tally of many different things that's going on our planet right now, and gives concise figures that change in front of your eyes on a constant basis. Now, I want to pass this by you, because yes, coronavirus has taken a lot of people. It's very, very sad. But, in relation to other things that are going on as well, it's very minuscule. And we already have, this is reported on here, seasonal flu deaths this year. 142,148 in the world so far this year. We've had 12,431 abortions. And what else we got here? We've had 286,000 people died of malaria. and we've had 313,609 suicides. But you know what's even more interesting than that? And these are statistics, they're reality. You can go on this Worldometer, WORLDO meter, METER.com, and it gives you a running tally that is in front of your eyes of what happened. Let me tell you what happened today, right? It's terrible. All these people die, but some people don't have to die. This is the problem. This is what gets my goat. You know, there's all this here we're doing, but half the world are starving to death. There are people dying all over the world right now. And when you say, well, how do you know that? Well, because on here, it's reported that there's 24,481 people have died of hunger today in the world we live in. Died of hunger. It's a disgrace. An absolute disgrace. I want people to know about it. You know, we have all these deaths through CV, but actually, there is 23,000 people died today. No food, no water. So I just wanted to pass that by here. And, you know, it's easy to look up. You can look it up yourself with the UK's Dr. Professor Whitty, saying it's far more important for healthcare and care workers to wear face masks than anyone else. Well, look, when this started, right, they didn't tell us wear face masks, and now they are telling us wear face masks. So is this something that you can catch? You know, you need somebody to sneeze all over you, basically. Or, you know, can we get it from breath? And, you know, basically, I mean, I've got a few comments there from Kerry. Says corona is Latin for crown. And she says virus, there are no cures. There are no cures, face masks, no. And I've seen it, and I'm sure you all out there been shopping, and everyone, a lot of people wearing face masks. And the fact is, I think that we have been misrepresented. We've been sold down a river, and we've been told a complete pack of lies from the people that are so-called in power. So-called in power, led by people from a scientific community that they say, well, we believe everything they say. My problem is, and, you know, I'm a rational thinking person, and I'm sure you are all out there, is the fact that, you know, this morning, I'm going to play this. This was on, I have a lot of respect for Piers. This was on the Piers Morgan show. Piers Morgan show, you'd like it to be. Good Morning Britain. I'm going to play it now so you can have a listen.
I don't want to interrupt you, but you talk about ramping up, and if you go back to January the 23rd, when COVID-19 first became a problem for the world and Wuhan was locked down, you were in the House of Commons and you made a speech in which you made it quite clear that we were completely prepared. Let's have a look at the clip.
The Chief Medical Officer has revised the risk to the UK population from very low to low, and has concluded that while there is an increased likelihood that cases may arise in this country, we are well prepared and well equipped to deal with them. The UK is one of the first countries to have developed a world-leading test for the new coronavirus, the NHS.
So this beggars the question. If we were so well prepared, particularly with testing, why is it that we are still behind the game on testing? Why is it we were so behind the game on PPE? Why is it that we had to go cap in hand, begging manufacturers to make ventilators? Why is it that actually, despite the fact that in 2016 we had a whole pandemic conference with all the government, all the health department people, in which we actually tested as a random exercise exactly what we're now going through, and it drew a number of conclusions, and then you as Health Secretary get up in the House of Commons in January as it begins to blow up, say we are completely prepared. Why is it that the reality is that we turned out to be so underprepared?
That's not true. And
that is true.
Well, it's not, and I'm
but
about
it's plainly
to...
true, isn't it? You haven't had enough PE, you haven't got enough tests, you didn't have enough ventilators. What was it you were prepared for?
I think you're slightly misjudging the public mood, because I've...
Give a damn about the public mood. I care about you answering my questions.
This is a national emergency. People want to hear the answers to your questions rather than you just asking another.
Stop playing that game with me, Mr. Hancock. With the greatest of respect to you, you're just buying yourself a bit of time. And the reality is, when you got up and said that you were properly prepared, actually, I would admire you more if you just admitted you weren't properly prepared. Rather like Emmanuel Macron has admitted that they weren't prepared. But your resolute refusal to concede that you've made any mistakes here, that grates with me. And I think that also misjudges the public mood, to quote your phrase.
I'm now going to answer the previous question and then that question, and you're not going to interrupt me. Okay? Let me speak, because that is the purpose.
You don't actually run this show, but I will actually let you answer the questions. Go on.
You just interrupted me again.
You don't decide how I do an interview, but off you go.
No, but I'll decide what I say as health secretary.
Sure, and I'll challenge it. You do your job and I'll do mine.
We took the judgments on the measures that we took at the right time, and the fact that we have successfully got to a peak and the NHS has been able to expand, so it's always been available. So it hasn't, unlike what we saw, for instance, in Italy and Lombardy with those terrible and very sad scenes right at the start of the European outbreak. I think that has been, that part
when you talk about success, Health Secretary, we now have the 5th highest death rate in the world. If you include the likely care home deaths, I think we move to 3rd in the world. You have a strange, different view of what success looks like to me. The care home explosion is happening. It is extremely dangerous for everyone that is there. Our death toll is rocketing by nearly 1,000 a day. We were warned yesterday by Chris Whitty to expect even bigger numbers as this week goes on. This hasn't been, by any definition, a success.
And there it is. There's Piers. And I wanted to play that because I watched that this morning and I thought, wow, that was amazing and immense. Because the problem is, all those in government are lying to you. All of them. They're all lying. You know, we're going to have 100,000 tests by the end of this month, April. We've got 2 weeks to go. How many are we doing right now? About 15,000. So within 2 weeks, we've got to ramp up another 85,000 tests a day. And that's just for NHS. That is without carers, which now seem to be the biggest subject they're talking about, which carers have been there all the time. And obviously carers are looking after the most deliberate, most difficult and vulnerable people. Gemma says, go on, Piers, and says, I can't stand Matt Hancock. I know, I can't either. You know what I've said, Clint? Matt Hancock is a liar. He is. I totally agree. He's blatantly lying to the public there on live TV with millions watching. Blatantly lying. He said we have all the tests and everything. Where are they? And I'm sorry, but you can't kid a kidder. Do you know what I mean? And it comes down to the fact that he isn't going to hit 100,000 tests by the end of this month. I don't feel that's going to happen at all. And forget about all that for 1 minute. There is 300,000. 300. They was talking about this on GMTV on Monday. I was talking about it on Sunday, last Wednesday, and the Sunday before that. There's 300,000 UK citizens coming back to this country from Iran, from Iraq, from Venezuela, from all over the world, and the hotspots, Italy, China, all over the place. And they're coming back here and they're getting off a plane, 50,000 a day. They're walking through customs and they walk out into our country. And they're not being temperature checked. They're not being looked at. They're not looking at anything. Now, I'm sorry. I'm a logical person, and I'm sure a lot of you are out there as well. If you aren't checking these people coming back from these places, it's never going to actually go away, is it? But you have to ask yourself, is it there in the first place? If we didn't do anything, would these figures be the same if we actually had ordinary flu? That's what I'd like to ask. because there is a lot of people, as I mentioned already, that have been put down and dying with coronavirus, and it's not actually coronavirus at all. It's a contributing issue to outstanding issues they have with themselves. I'm not taking away what a fantastic job the NHS staff are doing. What a fantastic job the logistics people doing, the lorry drivers, the road sweepers, the postmen, all of the people out there, because it's really important, because they are trying to save lives. Gemma says, Matt using emotive language and virtue signaling, but missing the actual question and avoiding the facts. What a surprise. I mean, look, come on. When someone asks you something, you answer him, and he's saying, I want to answer those questions. You'll not let me answer them. Well, he's not going to answer them anyway, is he? Kerry Wallace said, I have had ordinary flu, and you cannot get out of bed. No, I've had ordinary flu, and you can't get out of bed. I know exactly what you mean. The worst mistake they made was privatising the NHS, which they did in 2000, which I did, she thinks, in 2011. You know, we know the NHS, like the police force, like all the critical things we have here, have been ripped to pieces by this government in austerity. And they've been found with their pants down here. They've been found with their pants down because they're finding they need to pump loads of money into this. But at the same time, they've actually created a vortex, a big problem, because half the cabinet are split whether when we come back out of this through the economy, and they're thinking about money, and the other half are thinking about, you know, let's keep it going a bit longer. Today, obviously announced we've got 3 more weeks of this. How are you getting on out there? How are you coping with your lockdown? What are you up to? What are you doing? If you're living on your own, if you want to talk to me, anyone out there want to talk to me, it's 07403 436 942, 07403 436 942, or you can text me on that as well, 07403 436 942, or you can Facebook message me, or you can WhatsApp me as well. Some of the things I spoke about there, the testing, we are months down the line, and we're only doing 15,000 tests. He was found out there in that same interview when he was saying way back that we're going to go from 10,000 to 25,000 a day. Never happened. We're going to go from 15,000, well, what they're doing now, to 100,000 by the end of this month. It's not going to happen. The World Health Authority stated, if you want to get a grip of this, you've got to test people. Test. So I feel that this government are absolutely and utterly contemptual for every single person that works in the NHS. Now, I know Boris had it, all right? But I do feel, and he did look ill, to be fair, I do feel that Boris don't like this. So I do feel that he's in the background anyway, because he just wants to be popular. He's a buffoon. He's gone through something, and you know, I wish him as a human being that he gets better and everything else. But at the same time, Gemma's saying to me, what about the Scottish Health Secretary giving the advice to stay indoors, don't go out and get caught going second home twice? What a hypocrite. Yeah, but it makes a mockery of the whole thing, because it's not real, is it? They're telling us it's real, and it's fear porn everywhere. I better not say that word. They might actually clamp me down. Porn. It's fear porn. But, you know, it's the same as Michael Gove, who, as you know, is in government and is on telly. He has very big eyes. And he had his child tested. As NHS workers can't get a test. A lot of them can't. But Michael Gove got a test for his son. And, you know, that's rich, isn't it? Really. If you're privileged, he had a word with the medical advisor and he got his child tested, and then he could go back to work. What right has that man to do that? Whoever he is, in whatever government or anything, he has no right. Why does he come before anyone else? Is he that important to this country, Michael Gove, that he goes and sits in a house for 14 days? And by the way, Mike Hancock didn't. He was out in 7. It's all messy, very messy. I don't believe a word they tell me anymore. They're complete shambles. And unfortunately, you know, I feel in time to come, they're going to be found out more and more and more. Now, I do know, obviously, the carers do an amazing job, and they are now being lumped in on top of 100,000. So they're making a big hole for themselves, because they're saying that we're going to get 100,000 tests done by the end of this month. 2 months too late, 2.5 months too late. Knew about this in December. And Mike Hancock on there saying, well, there wasn't enough people at the weekend because it is Easter. I'm dumbfounded. But on top of that 100,000 by the end of this month, they're also going to do loads of carers as well. And the questions they're going to get is, how many carers have been tested? How many NH staff have been tested? You know, we've had ministers on there and got a clue. They don't know. They don't know. They don't care. That's why none of them care. Because it's a great big shambolic load of old crap. That's what it is. Nightingale Hospital and the many others in Birmingham, Bristol, and that have been built. What are they built for? What are they built for? Our figures are coming down. We seem to all be doing okay. And so why are they there? Why are they there? And then, of course, they're building, as we've seen already, a 2 football pitch size in East London morgue for dead bodies. But the survival rate on this is very, very high. Very, very high. And it's interesting. They tell us stay indoors and don't go out. And we've seen all the examples of people that have gone out and then they get arrested for stupid things. And the police are like behaving like fascist bully boys with a lot of these people. And then they tell you it's safe to go to a supermarket, but it's not safe to walk outside on your own or with one person that you live with that has got nobody around you. It's not safe to sit on a park bench and watch a sunset, but it's more safer to go into a supermarket that's full of people all wearing all sorts of strange costumes as well as masks and God knows what else. I think it's a joke. And the 300,000 people, 50,000 people a day, he quoted today on there, are coming back to this country daily, not being tested. Gemma says, what do you think of Matt Hancock saying he is seriously considering mandatory vaccinations and we will all be tracked on our mobile phones and contacted if we have been in contact with the infected? I think it's disgusting. I could use much stronger words than that. A mandatory vaccine. It's already been proven that the last set of vaccines, I can't remember what that was, SARS or bird flu or something that was put out there, they've had to pay 60 or 70 million people, 70 million pounds in compensation to families that lost people through taking that vaccine. This vaccine is not going to be ready for months and months and months and months and months. We will have, maybe, at the end of this 3 weeks that we've got to do next. And it's a bit like we're all serving prison sentence, really, because we can't get on and do our ordinary things in our lives. We have to stay indoors. And then, you know, you think, well, I'll bake some cakes. We go to the supermarket and there's no flour. You know, this is the mad world we live in. I feel very strongly mandatory vaccinations is wrong in every aspect. And I know that if they try and bring in mandatory vaccinations, and I'm not telling you out there not to do it, everyone's got their own right. But I'll tell you what, I'm not pumping any of their nanotechnology shit into my body, I can tell you. And as for tracking on a mobile phone, they can do that anyway. They know what we're all doing. They know what, you know, what people don't realize out there. They know when you are on the phone, who you're talking to, who you text. They see what you watch, you know, and this is all collated for lots of different reasons. Gemma says, if coronavirus mutates every year like flu, then we have to keep having them. I totally agree. But our immune system, our body, let's forget about 21st century living for a minute. Let's go back to medieval days. Medieval days when their toilets didn't have flushes. they went and crapped in a toilet that then ended up on the street. And then there was people that got drunk falling in it, and beggars running around in it. And yes, there was TB and all sorts of different diseases there. But, you know, we have to be very careful here. We don't go down a road that becomes too sterile, because we'll be prone to everything and anything if we're going to be governed and led by people that keep us in fear. And I'm sorry, but that's not the world I was brought up in. I wanted to play a clip from somebody that was really talking a lot of sense. But unfortunately, surprise, surprise, Facebook Big Brother police have got rid of it. So I can't play it. And if you noticed recently, there's quite a few posts that go vanishing or it's not attached, because they're already tightening the grip. And it won't be very long down the line that even putting anything on Facebook will become a criminal offence. It'll become a criminal offence. And if you speak out against it, does not people wake up and realise what's happening here? This is far more than just a virus. This is about your civil rights, your decency, your respect being completely disrespected and eroded. Completely. You know, tracking your mobile phone so they can actually see, and a light comes on or whatever, and they say, oh, that person's near something infected, right? Go and pull them in. And under the new coronavirus bill, they can do that. They can actually do that. I think it's terrible. I think it's absolutely shocking. And this man that was speaking this film, he said, this is not the world that I was brought up in. You know, you think they got it bad out in North Korea, in China, in communist countries. Well, I feel that we've got a fascist regime here that is there holding us with contempt, because what they're doing is they're holding the many in their fists like that. You will be in fear every single day. Then we can control you. And those that aren't in fear, we're going to get rid of them, because we're going to lock them up. If they speak out against anything, they're going to go. The logistics of coming out of this is massive. They can't just say, right, open the door, you all go out. And this is look, there's so many things wrong here. So many things wrong. I just talked about a few of them there in relation to what's going on with it. The repercussions are massive. The world's economies are finished. Money was non-existent anyway, don't exist. It's not real. But we have got so many people here in this country. It's not being talked about. Spoke about it on Sunday. Still not being talked about. It will be talked about. They catch up eventually. The fact is, it's bloody tight out there. People haven't got jobs. People haven't got money because they're still waiting. Self-employed won't get any money till June, if they're lucky. There is like 1.5 million to 2 million people still waiting for payments from Universal Credit. They're living in houses they can't pay their rent or mortgage. They can't put any food on the table. What are they doing? They're going out, and they're getting whatever they can from food banks and things like that. But that's getting shorter and shorter. I am disgusted how this country is being treated. I'm disgusted how you are being treated, because you're nothing but you're being treated like third-rate citizens. It's almost as contemptuous as they treat those people in Africa. You know, and there's another thing. Africa in lockdown. India in lockdown. You see in India, lockdown. Did somebody point out to me today, and it's a very good point. There's billions of people live in India. They don't all live in houses. They live in shanty towns or shacks, or haven't even got anywhere. They live on the roads. So where do these people go? Where do they go? They've got nowhere to go. So the police come along and beat them with sticks. You've got to go home. But I haven't got a home. I haven't got a home. Doesn't matter. You've got to go somewhere. You can't stay here. How are we treating human and spirit here? Because it's the spirit inside ourselves, which is the intention of the truth we carry as honorable people inside, that comes into play. And it's completely and utterly wrong. Completely and utterly wrong. And I feel very strongly this is really serious. Serious beyond belief where we sit. It's not a case that it's going to be end and then we'll go back to normal. There ain't going to be no normal, whatever that was, because that normal's it's gone. It's vamoosed. I said there, you could be tracked on a phone. You know, if you have any vaccination, I can tell you now, I'm not an expert in vaccinations. I won't have one. And if they say it's mandatory, you have to have one, I ain't having one. So they have to put me in prison because I'm not having a vaccine. Not having it. Because I'm not having little nano chips put into my arm so that they can read everything about you and switch you on and do things to you inside or do things to you outside. Gemma says, even if the whole world went in lockdown for a couple of weeks at the same time and killed the virus for now, the animals it came from are still carrying it, so infect the population again. It's very interesting because, I mean, everyone has different viewpoints, and I'm only going to give you mine. And it's not there for you to believe or disbelieve. It's entirely up to you. But the fact is that the animal kingdom, animals themselves, that's what we are. We're part of the animal kingdom. In our mouths, we carry millions of viruses. In our body, we carry millions of viruses. And with many of the animals, they all carry virus. Everything living carries virus because it's there fighting against viruses, if you like. Immune system. My own theory on this is not something that's come from eating bats and chickens and God knows what. Bird flu, things like that didn't reach us. SARS didn't reach us. This has. I feel it's much more benign than that. I feel that this is something that, unfortunately, as a creator to it. So it's something I feel has been created. And, you know, I'm only giving you my viewpoint. I mean, you don't have to believe me. None of you have to believe me if you don't want to. But the fact is, this didn't come from animals. This was created and then propagated, if you like. And I'm not saying who, but it's come from somewhere. So, you know, I feel, hang on a minute, I've got a text here. Let's see what they say. It's very interesting because we have a few. I'm asking the person that sent me the link for that, the guy that was on a rant, to send me it again because it's vanished. Debbie says man-made warfare. Absolutely, I agree with that. It is man-made warfare. Unfortunately, we live in a very difficult time. And, you know, I'd love to say to you that we can trust everyone. But, you know, power corrupts is not an adage. It's a reality. It does corrupt. And, you know, power, wealth, greed is playing games here. We know for years. I read there 23,000 died today of starvation. They haven't got the basic necessity to eat or drink. We've got thousands of people still living on the streets here in this country, homeless, nowhere to live. Who's interested? I mean, I know we have groups like Shelter and that. They're lovely. They're amazing, do an amazing job, but they can't be everywhere. Who cares? Who cares about them? It seems to me, as soon as you start making noise about something, because the care homes weren't even being looked at, wasn't being talked about. And of course, because it started to hit the headlines, then Mike Hancock stands up and says, oh, well, we're going to do this for the carers and we're going to bring everyone together and we're going to give them a badge and everything. So they all feel part of something. They don't want a badge. They want PPE now and they want testing now. Simple. That's it. Oh, I'll drop my phone. What's important is that we can't pussyfoot around with this. Do you know what I mean? Can't pussyfoot around with it. I think my friends actually reshared this. So I want you to hear this. And it could be this one. I'm not sure.
I appreciate you tuning in. As you all know, I've been involved in boxing, being a pro athlete for a long time.
No, that's not it. Sorry, that's the wrong one.
I've made some
That's not him. I can't find it anyway. Hopefully it sent me through the right one. Remember, it's very important. I'm sitting here waffling on and all sorts of that. I'm only telling you what I feel, what I sense. I'm a psychic guy. I'm spiritual. The only way we defeat this is through not taking fear on. So whatever they throw at us, Debbie says, my mum is a nursing home and is worried. She says she will never see her family again. Yeah, I'm going to read that out because that's on Facebook. That's on Facebook Messenger. Let's see what she says here. Man-made warfare. We are in World War III. And well, the way they talk on television is it's a war. It's a war. And you know what really got my goat today? Because things do, unfortunately. Vera Lynn's song, We'll Meet Again, from way back in the 30s or the 40s, been resurrected. It's whatever in the charts, very close to number one. Because that's tough British spirit. The thing is, that country then is a very different country we live in now. Because this country is fragmented. It's fragmented because you can see that. What we had 3 years, we had Brexit, split a country, divided it. Then we had a general election, split and divided it. Now we have this, which in a way is splitting, dividing from people that most people think are cranky or conspirators to people that believe everything they're told. You know, it's shocking, to be honest. It really is. Debbie Jane Harrison has texted, man-made warfare, Clint, we are in World War III. My mum is in a nursing home and is worried. She says she'll never see her family again. They have no pipe whatsoever. Sorry, not pipe, PPE. They have no PPE. Her mother's in a nursing home with no PPE. It's a disgrace. What's going on? You know, we're 2 months into this. Why haven't they got PPE? Why haven't we got tests? Germany itself, we're testing 300,000 or 400,000 people a day. Why are we only testing 15,000 people? This is your show, remember. It's not for me to wander on all the time. 07403 436 942. 07403 436 942. You can ring that number, or you can text that number, or you can do what Debbie did there. You can Facebook me. My friend might have tried to find the other one, and that's not it. We'll find that. If I can't find it today, we will bring it up on a future show. And I do feel it's very important within inside ourselves that we have an understanding of what's going on, because, you know, as Piers said, that is quite right. We have to question everything. You know, if we don't question things, we just go along with it. We're just sheep, and we can't be sheep because there's too many mistakes here. Too many mistakes. One other thing to do with it, and my cousin brought it up actually, was we've got Wuhan, which is next to Beijing and Shanghai, and obviously Beijing and Shanghai are next to Wuhan, but they haven't got any coronavirus victims. Nothing. Wuhan was where it took place, where it started, where it was. But when you start looking at it, you find that Beijing is where all the Chinese government people live and military leaders. Shanghai is where all the commerce, China's commerce is. Karen has Facebook messaged me. Thank you very much for doing that as well. You can get hold of this show 07403 436 942. You text me or ring me. She said, seems your screen keeps freezing. Sorry about that. I don't know why. This all seems to be working here. And she said, had a horrid dream that we will end up with ration books. Well, I cannot not disagree with you. Do you know what I mean? It's disgusting, to be honest. Absolutely disgusting. So you can contact the show 07403 436 942. Text me on that number, or do what Debbie and Karen's done there, and message me on Facebook Messenger under Clint Denyer. Kerry Wallace says, I believe it is because the Queen has a majority share in both of the giants, and this is a huge smokescreen to cover up what Prince Andrew is exposed to, and elite have their own agendas. Well, isn't it interesting that we do not actually talk about any of that anymore, because it doesn't exist, does it? We don't talk about the people all flooded. I talk about it all the time. We don't talk about the poor parents that their son was run over by basically a woman spy coming out of a military camp. You know, that's not talked about anymore. Epstein, not talked about anymore. Do you know what I mean? She goes on to say coronavirus is actually found in Wales, not Wales where you drive to. I believe the sperm whale to be precise, and that has and is recorded. Also, in medical journals, coronavirus is known as the common cold. What I do know is that there's 7 forms of coronavirus, which, you're right, is a form of cold flu, if you like. And obviously, every year up until this year, we haven't had lockdowns, and there has been a lot of people. How many people do you know out there in the last few years had really bad? How many of you had really bad colds or flu in the last couple of years, the last year? Do you know what I mean? You know, that was a virus. You go to the doctor, it's a virus. It's a virus. Of course, you can't go to the doctor right now because they don't want you there. I'm just going to say, because he is desperately trying, this young man. This could be it. This could be it. I'm not sure. No, that's not it. No, we will come up with it. Don't worry. Is COVID-19 is a new strain. Look, we do have in this country viruses and strains crop up all the time. New things crop up all the time. You know, somebody mentioned earlier on that if it mutates, well, what if it does mutate? You know, I mean, what do we do? Go and lock down again? You know, when we leave our places and go out there, you know, there's a lot of people I feel sorry for that swallow and buy everything they're told. So they're very in fear. And, you know, I know the NHS do an amazing job and they're underfunded. And now they're going to plow millions into it. Actually, there's money coming out of their ears at the moment, considering we've had 10 years of austerity. And, you know, we have the new Nightingale Hospital, which basically got about 19 patients in it. It's got 4,000 beds and loads of gear, ventilators and everything. Well, they're in the wrong place, aren't they? Clearly. And loads of PPE, probably. And we got Debbie's mum there. Had no PPE on the nurses there or the carers. What's going on? What's happening? Why are our governments so incompetent? Why can't they get a finger on the pulse? It's laughable. And you know, another thing that really gets my goat as well is the fact that, you know, I've seen it on social media many times, and I do have enormous respect for the NHS and the work that they're doing, and I know that they're not paid enough. And you know, this comes down to Mike Cock, I'm going to call him. Not Hancock, he's Mike Cock. Because Mike Cock, right, he had a big thing about footballers paying some of their money, right, to charity or to the NHS or something. He was asked by Piers this morning, Mike Cock, are you going to give up some of your money? No, of course he isn't. No. And most of the cabinet are multi-millionaires. No, they're not going to give any money up, are they? No. You know, it's double standards. I'm sorry, but it's not good enough. It's not good enough. We don't live in this have and have not culture. It's got to go. It's finished. As I said before, I mean, Prince Andrew covered up the couple who had their son killed on a motorbike. Them poor people, what are they thinking right now? What are they thinking? No justice. When am I ever going to get justice? And all the poor people that flooded, all in the north, in Wales, what's happened to them? What has happened to them? Are they back home? Are they still out of their homes? Does anyone know? It doesn't exist. It's not a news story anymore. The news story is fear. Fear. So, again, I'll say, if you want to interrupt the show, 07403 436 942, 07403 436 942. You can ring the show or you can text this show. Not in Texas, or you can do if you want. Or you can Facebook message us on this show as well to Clint Denyer, or WhatsApp me at Clint Denyer. I've got a phone here, and it's ready for anyone that wants to call me, text me, or as some people have already, Facebook me. I can't seem to find that film at the moment. It's a show. We'll bring it up. I'll probably find it by Sunday. I will talk to the source that it came from. So, you know, I've just tried to give you an overview of some of the things that are wrong. Okay. And, you know, they can all say, well, it's trying times and we make mistakes, but they don't even say that. They stand up and say, we're doing the best we've ever done. We're better than any. It's rubbish. This country is a joke in what they're dealing with this. And they're treating you all with contempt. I want to, anyone wants to phone up, I want to move on, because we're here basically till our past 07403 436 coronavirus. We're going to move away from that into something else that I think I just want to bring up on the show, because this is a 10-year-old boy who was accused of getting a 13-year-old girl pregnant, is too sexually immature to have produced sperm, according to Russian doctors who examined the child for Russian television. A troubling television show revealed the face of the children at the centre of the case, and deep control pregnant. The popular on live show with presenter Andrei Malalov could be the father. This 10-year-old boy, they are 10-year-old boys, small people. He said, we rechecked the laboratory results 3 times, so there cannot be any mistake. The medic said on camera, there cannot be sperm cells. He's a child. He had barely started the early stages of sexual maturation. There isn't even no testosterone. And just to add, he still has the childish sex organs. Apparently, he is the father. This is in Russia. This 10-year-old boy, 10-year-old boy. And when I say 10-year-old boy, I'm just going to show you this, if you can see it. There it is, if you can see it. There's the happy couple. Now, in the world we live in right now, it's a more promiscuous time where people want to grow up quicker. And, you know, Denis Davidoff, psychologist, was interrogated on whether she had been with anyone else, and no. And he was the father. I'm astounded. A 10-year-old getting a 13-year-old pregnant. What is your view of that in Russia? What do you think of that? Do you think that's... Where are we going wrong? Do you know what I mean? What's happening? What we got here? Jane Brooks says apparently MPs on top of their 70,000 a year salary for falling asleep and farting in the House of Commons are being granted an extra 10,000 in expenses from working at home. Well, I'll tell you what, that cabinet you can almost quadruple, if not more, on that, because you've got multi-millionaires sitting in cabinet. Michael Gove is a very rich man. A lot of them in cabinet are very rich. But they're actually on nearly 80 odd thousand a year, the MPs themselves. And obviously they get second homes as well. But they're also now getting £10,000 in expenses to work at home as well. So, you know, what's really going on here when these people will not give up any of their money? If they gave £1,000, if all MPs, 656 of them, gave up £1,000 of their money a year to homeless charities or homeless people, wouldn't it be an uplift? Wouldn't it be a beginning for them? Instead of that, we just walk past them. Just walk past. You're nothing. You just live on the streets. That's the society we live in, and that's the society that's got to change. Kerry Wallace said Home Office rollout program from the 1st of October 2018 to the 1st of October 2019. Spoke to National Crime Agency, who are aware of this and recorded under section 1288594 on the 1st of February, fraud against the NHS. And Kerry says, I told the NCO I was going to go live via social media. Yeah, I think she come on and spoke about that before, actually. But, you know, when you have such big organizations, and I know it's not easy. Look, I'm not saying Matt Cock has an easy job, all right? I don't think he has an easy job at all. He's looking after a massive department, the health department. And he obviously has underlings on him that obviously, you know, and probably then management and more management and more management and more management. And then we eventually get down to cleaners and nurses and everyone else that's only 20 grand a week. Do you know what I mean? 20 grand a week against MPs earning thousands upon thousands. And they have immunity in that as well. You have to ask yourself, what the hell is going on? Do you know what I mean? It's so unfair. And it's not just with what's going on with that. I want to broaden this picture completely because look, we are all as one, all of us, right across the world, whoever we are, whatever color, whatever creed, we are one people, one consciousness, one spirit. We're all connected. I know nature's coming back at this time and the earth is being healed. And this is a time for liberation. It's a time of reflection. It's time of growth through the love and understanding what we have inside ourselves. This isn't hugging trees. It's reality. We're having to look at ourselves as never before. But we also have to look out the window at other places. You know, we have to look at the starving people around the world that every day, we're lucky we turn a tap on. They can't. They ain't got any water. They have to walk 10 miles to get it. They ain't got any food. You know, the homeless on our streets in our country. You know, a lot of them go into drugs and all sorts because they want fixes, because they don't want to be here. I hope many people realize that, you know, it's all right to go out and enjoy yourself, but the norm before was Friday and Saturday nights, everyone got absolutely tanked up out their face and lose reality because they're trying to escape. I feel that might change after this because, yes, it does bring out the D-Day spirit in the British people. But at the same time, that's really good. And with what they're doing is really good. But there is a point here where we live in a different time. This We'll Meet Again, Don't Know Where, Don't Know When, Vera Lynn's song, fantastic for the time. And Catherine Jenkins has redone it, and it's, as I said, top of the charts. We're not in a war. Yes, we have to knuckle down and all sorts. And this British upper lip, Princess Beatrice's wedding is cancelled. They are. Well, sorry, I had an invite to that as well. What a shame. I mean, obviously, that is Andrew and Fergie's daughter. That would have been very interesting, wouldn't it? So, you know, you have to look at a bigger picture. It's not just about a virus. It's about many other things. This phone line is open. 07403 436 942. 07403 436 942. You can text or ring that, or you can get me on Facebook Messenger under Clint Daniel, or WhatsApp. How are you surviving out there? Let me know. Tell me what you're up to. Tell me how you're finding it. Is it a struggle? Is it a strain? How did you feel today when they said to you, well, there's another 3 weeks of this? And I do know, look, we can't get away from the fact that this affects everyone in different ways. Not only are we open ourselves up and look at ourselves, but the torture, the mental torture that some people are under right now. They're living in a house. They're one-parent family. They have 2 kids, 3 kids, 1 kid. Constantly, every day. They can just go out to exercise. And they can't drive their car, apparently. And you can go to the supermarket, but then you must go home straight away. What society are we living in? Are we living in England? This is, it doesn't compute with me. And you've got all of these people in homes up and down the country, thousands, millions of people that are living alone, are struggling, can't put their fire on, scared, in fear, haven't got any money, don't know how they're going to eat. Surely we have to start looking at these people, and surely we have to start looking at the fact of financial understanding of a situation. They gave all these massive things out. Yeah, we're going to give billions to this and billions to that, but you ain't going to get it to June, and there's 2 million people that's trying to sign on, and blah 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 and all the rest of it. I want to know what's going on with these people. I don't want this fear porn in my face every day. I want to know these people that are achieving, that are getting something out of what they've applied for, got. Or if they're not, I want to know about it, because it looks to me, and I've said it many times, we're being led down a road of civil disobedience here. Now, the British are a very reserved race. They might shout and scream and campaign and things like that, but they don't rise up. But I do feel you're going to push the mental torture to the limit with people here in this country, because there are many people just on the edge anyway, just on the edge by the slave empowered race that they had to be working, that they had to be certain places at certain times, that they had to do certain things because they were told that you must do this job and you must work as hard as you can possibly do, and you must have that house, you must have that car, and you must have that child. And it's all about earning loads of money, playing golf and doing all that stuff. Well, some people don't, but it comes down to the fact that, you know, we're sitting in a situation. I want to know about the people who are struggling out there. Who is talking about the people that are struggling? Nobody. On the news in the morning, it's all about CV, wall-to-wall CV. These people have died. This is a running tally. These are people died today. This is a running tally so far. Why aren't we being shown the people that are struggling? The millions of people in this country that are silent now, right now, not saying anything. These people that want to eat. These people that want to go out, but they can't go out because they haven't got a park. And they, you know, you imagine living in somewhere like Manchester or Liverpool, and there's just rows and rows and rows of houses, and they live in a flat, and they haven't got a garden. You know, millions of people haven't got gardens. You know, we need mental as well as physical stimulation, exercise. And there's only so long that people can take something like that before something snaps. And when it snaps, there's a problem. because social balance gets tipped. And this government, they do this update every single day. And all they're doing is they're bringing out pie charts of how we're traveling. Well, there's not many cars now. Of course there isn't, because there's no cars on the road hardly. And of course, what's that mean? Well, petrol prices are down to about £1.07 a litre. That's still extortionately expensive. For a gallon, in my day, a gallon, that cost you over £5. When I was brought up, I'm sorry to say, it was like 70p or £1 for a gallon. So petrol's gone down because no one's using it, or diesel. As soon as we all get back in our cars and drive it, it go up to 130, 140, it may even go at 150, it might go higher. And, you know, it's all right, this government's saying we've got a strategy and all sorts, but you, the public, need to know. You need to know what's going to happen next. The millions of people that had jobs, security, comfort and stabilization, the rug's been pulled from under their feet. And as it's been pulled from under their feet, they're standing there. They don't know what to do. Because when they turn the TV on, all they get is wall-to-wall fear porn. There's nobody on there saying, there's no experts coming on saying, if you're having problems, please do this. If you're having problems, please do that. Why haven't we got on news broadcasts people from all walks of life that are there to help people, from the Samaritans through to shelter, through to whoever that are there to help? Why haven't we got these people on television? Why is it all about who dies? And why, you know, again, I take that off the NHS and all the carers and everyone else that's working, all the logistics and the postman and everything else. But I am sick to death of watching on social media. I'm talking not one or two, large groups of nurses dancing or making a what do you call it, a music thing on their phone that's put out as a tweet, and everyone goes, oh, that's really good, that's great. The last one I see had nearly 20 nurses in it, and none of them who are social distancing. They're all virtually standing near each other, and they were doing a song. They were dancing to a song. 20 nurses or matrons, what do you want to call them, 20 of them. Well, my question is, how have they got time to do that? And what about their patients? Who's actually looking after them? Well, we'll forget about the patients. We're just going to go and do a bit of dancing for social media. I'm sorry, that's completely wrong. I'm not saying they can't enjoy themselves. They should be able to, but 20 nurses dancing in a corridor of a hospital on social media, clearly enjoying themselves, and I'm astounded. There must be such a big problem out there because there's so many of them dancing in hospitals. And, you know, we also get the great British spirit thing again, where you get somebody, an older person, 70, 80, 90 years old, walking out, not walking out, going out in a wheelchair. And you've got all these nurses. I'm talking 40 nurses lining a corridor, one either side, clapping the patient leaving. I am lost for words. Who's looking after patients? We're going to clap this person because he's recovered. That's really good. I'm really pleased he has. Do we need to have a standing ovation? And it's a bit like this, like tonight. It's just happened, obviously. 8:10. Clap for the NHS. I'm not knocking the fact that we appreciate them, and we should show that in whatever way we want to. And then it was thought, well, we'll clap them when I went on a Thursday. I think it's a good idea. But at the same time, it's not just about the NHS. It's about the lorry drivers, the shop assistants, the care workers, the postman, the milkman, the whoever is out there right now, the Amazon worker, the delivery driver. All of those people It's not just about the NHS. It's about all of them. And it's gone mad because it's more than that now. It's not let's clap them on Thursday, but let's actually set fire to some lanterns and put them up in the sky and celebrate that way as well. The most dangerous thing you can do is have one of those sky lanterns, light it and let it go up, because that can land someone's house or on their roof, burn their house down. It can land on an animal. It can land on and it did land on a factory, and the whole thing caught fire. I think it's absolutely mad. I'm not saying we shouldn't appreciate them. We do. But aren't we just going a bit too far? Isn't this making it into some sort of commercial thing? I don't feel it's right. It doesn't sit well with me. You know, they do a fantastic job. Yes, we should applaud them. And even like Boris on Tuesday, we should all clap for Boris. We should all clap for Boris because he overcome it. What I can't understand about Boris Johnson, yes, he did look ill. He was taken to hospital and he's in there 7 days. And apparently he's now convalescing and recovering, but he did a film on Twitter or whatever. 7 days he's in a hospital, 3 days intensive care or whatever, 4 days or whatever. And it's all touch and go, and these nurses saved his life and everything. What I don't understand is Kate Garraway, who nearly won I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, that was on in the summertime, I think. Her husband, I can't remember his name, to apologise. Her husband is still in hospital now, weeks and it must be 3 weeks with the illness, and no sign of him coming out. I like fairness in life. I'm not saying that Boris shouldn't come out. Of course he should if he's better. But what's going on with Kate Garraway's husband? Why isn't somebody asking? But I cannot reiterate enough. We shouldn't be just talking about this. What we need to be talking about is the way forward. And the way forward is actually to start looking at people that are not being spoken for. The people that are sitting at home at the moment, scared stiff to open their door because it might be somebody come and take something, because they haven't paid their rent, because they haven't paid. Well, they've got rent mortgage and they've got mortgage relief and all sorts of that for 3 months. Well, what happens after that? You still got to pay it all back. It's not given to you. And you know, another thing that sickens me is this government. This government is hell-bent in any way, shape or form of making money. Because in this business loans, any business loans they give out is got interest added to it. So in other words, you're going to pay back what they give you plus interest. So in other words, they're going to make money on the money they give you. So in effect, what they're doing is they're saying, you can have some money, we're going to help you out. And by the way, you're going to pay that back plus all of this as well, because that's interest. So aren't the government making a gain out of a loss? Out of a terrible loss for people, they're making a gain. Why are they doing that? Why don't they say, we give you this money, you pay that money back, that's it? No. We give you this money, and you give us that money back, but we want this interest as well. You know, it's wrong. It's wrong. In my eye, it's wrong. This isn't like buying a car. You know, this is for people out there in business. Well, I'm sure many of you agree that many of the businesses you knew before, I'm talking about smaller businesses, will not be there. Won't be there anymore when we come out of this, because they're finished, bankrupt. I'm sure I haven't seen the figures. I will get the figures for how many businesses going bankrupt right now. It must be absolutely colossal, because some people can't wait. You know, and then there is the case for all the landlords. You know, landlords that have got people staying in their accommodation, renting accommodation, not being paid. They're obviously talking to each other, but they don't know when they're going to get money. They don't know when their rent's going to be paid. And that has a knock-on effect. Say, for instance, a landlord has a whole street of houses. If no one pays him, maybe he needs that money to help him pay his house. You know, everything, what people don't realize in this world, everything in spirituality is the same. Everything has a knock-on effect. So if we do bad things, that has a knock-on effect. That has a knock-on effect all the time. Because down the line, someone's going to get hurt. In spirituality, we walk a path that's true. And this isn't tree hugging. It's just about being yourself and doing the best you can do. And looking at things. You know, this isn't a conspiracy. This is not a conspiracy we sit in. This is real-time news. This is real-time events. You know, with people that are like me and you. They use a toilet. They go for a wee. They have flesh, apparently. Well, some of them might not, actually. They might just be skins on things. But these people sit in their meetings, deciding the fate, and they couldn't organise a piss up in a brewery, to be honest. No PPE. We let 50,000 people from abroad in every day and not check them. And, oh, by the way, we'll keep everyone in the house for another 3 weeks. And, by the way, you can't go outside unless you're going to the shop or exercising. Oh, don't even think about stopping to sit down because we'll be after you. Do you know what I mean? We're coming to get you. The number here is 07403 436 942. That's the number to ring. That's the hotline directly to me on the show. This is my phone here. Look, this is it. 07403 436 942. If you want to text the same number, if you have any comments, queries, anything you want to say, or you can Facebook message me as well at Clint Daniel. I better just check my messages because I mean we are on a shoestring budget here, which means that with it's just me basically, me manning everything, which is good. It is good. No, we haven't got anything there. We'll go back to Debbie Jane Harrison's comments. Oh, we have got a phone call. Hello, you're through to the Inview. You're speaking to Clint. Who's on the line?
Hello, Mr. Daniel. It's Linda Bassett.
Hello, Linda Bassett. How are you? You were on the show on Sunday.
Yes, I was.
Thank you for ringing. That's very kind of you. You know.
Well, that's okay, because I just wanted to... I had something to say, so
Yeah.
I thought I would ring.
Hey, what do you think of the show? Does it make sense?
Yes, very good. Wish more people would ring in.
Yeah, I do as well.
Ask you questions, maybe. Ask you questions.
Yeah.
I was talking to a bin lady today. She gets up 5 o'clock every morning. She starts her shift at 6 o'clock every morning.
Yeah.
And she goes out and she drives the recycling lorry.
Okay.
And she was saying to me today, which I was absolutely astonished. However, she said every day now for her is like Christmas Day because of the volume of rubbish and recycling that people are creating.
Bottles and everything, yeah.
Yes, she said alcohol has absolutely gone through the roof as far as the bottles are concerned.
Yeah.
And the cardboard, she said people are buying television, they're buying new gadgets. She said she is astonished by the volume of consumerism that is still taking place even during a time when people haven't got any money.
I know, and that's the one thing I'll ask straight away. Where do these people get their money? I mean, obviously there's cards and things like that, but...
So she was asking that as well, you know. She said they're shocked at what they... Obviously, they steal a lot when they're going around doing their rounds. And the thing that she highlighted, which I was also quite astonished by, is the fact that these people who are buying these products are just putting their rubbish out without any consideration at all to the fact that that cardboard box needs to fit on that lorry to then allow the next person's rubbish to fit on that lorry.
Yeah.
And she said they are now actually leaving behind the cardboard boxes that have not been dismantled and torn up into small pieces.
Well, it's easy. All you do is take the bottom out of them and then flatten it, don't you?
You can flatten it, but they need it torn up as well.
Yeah.
So that
Well, people won't do that. Because unfortunately a lot of people are sheep and they don't even know they need to do that.
No, so they're leaving behind the cardboard now. So if you do, I just thought I'd bring up and say to the listeners, if you do leave your cardboard out and it hasn't been flattened and torn up into smaller segments, don't be surprised if there have been people leave it behind. And don't ring them up because they're not going to come back.
No.
They've got far too much to do. But I was also absolutely delighted to read today that Dorset Council have opened up their green waste collection, or will be opening them up again from the end of April.
Brilliant. Well, everyone's going to go there.
That is going to help so many people.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't got the statistics, but I would have thought in Dorset there's probably a far older generation.
Yeah.
And that is going to help them considerably to know that they can at least tend their garden or have their garden tended, and the green waste
taken
will
away.
be taken away.
Yeah.
So it was a very interesting. I spent about a quarter of an hour with this lady, chatting to her. Obviously, we were actually more than 2 meters apart. But she said also she was so humbled by the number of people that are giving the notes of thank you and letters and little gifts. So as they're going round, the cab on the lorry is getting more full up with little gifts that people are giving them, like for food, like boxes of eggs and chocolate, things like that. And she was really humbled. And she said she'd been doing the job for 16 years. And she said, obviously, in that time, there's never been a time like now. And she's humbled on one side, but completely appalled on the other by the inconsideration of the consumer who doesn't think about the fact.
I think it comes down to the consumer needing to be educated, doesn't it? Which then comes down to an advert maybe on the news down in that area saying, in future, can you just rip up your whatever and flatten it? Do you know what I mean?
But, you know, is that the sort of nanny state that we
Well, unfortunately, I'm sorry to say it. I'm sorry to say this, but that is the state we live in. Because it's all right to change things. I mean, you know yourself, in a work case scenario, if you don't tell everyone what they're meant to do, if it changes, then they carry on doing what they did, won't they?
Oh, well, that's very true. Yes, that's very true.
Matthew John has come back to you and said, hasn't it come to something when you have to do most of the work for them? Devon and Cornwall need to come into the 21st century. When I lived in Dorset, they took everything in a big blue wheel, and it was then sorted out a recycling centre.
Yes, they all their paper and cardboard all goes in one bin, which certainly is more helpful. Somerset, it all needs to be separated at the curbside as opposed to back at the depot.
Yeah.
I'm so pleased because of the fact that they are being sent, that they actually need to open these facilities again to help us.
I can't see why recycling centres couldn't be open everywhere, to be honest. If everyone stayed 2 meters apart, then I can't see what the problem is. You drive in, you unload, you go.
I completely agree with you, like the supermarkets are doing.
Well, yes. I mean, it's more safer than a supermarket, to be honest.
Well, it probably is. It probably is, yes. However, I thought I would just call you. I had 5 minutes, so I thought I'd just give you.
That's very kind of you. Thank you very much. What before you go? What do you think? What do you think about what I'm talking about in relation to people come instead of all this wall to wall fear? People coming on the news that are from various agencies looking at people that are struggling, because we're not seeing any of that.
No, we're not. And I think it was a very valid point that you brought up, which was about the hundreds. I mean, it wasn't just one or two, it was hundreds of people that were flooded.
Yeah.
Which just before this all kicked off, that was all we heard about on the news, was all these people that were flooded. All of a sudden, there's nothing. The one thing that's annoying me at the moment is they still keep on about let's talk, get talking. They're still really plugging that advert, which I would have thought, if you're at home with a family that you don't particularly get on well with and you don't particularly want to talk to, that's the last thing you want to hear.
I agree, and that is another thing that's not being covered at all in the news, is the social damage being done to people living on their own, living with kids, living with family. You know, you can nip in the bud a lot of domestic violence just by getting somebody in there to talk to them.
Exactly.
But we're not doing any of that.
But they're trapped in their home.
Yes.
And, you know, they're almost painting, with that advert, they're almost painting a rosy picture about something that's very serious.
Yes, it is.
That, as you quite rightly said, is affecting so many people.
It is, because
so you look,
most of the time people out working, so they don't see each other, and they tolerate each other. And not everyone, but a few people tolerate each other. Do you know what I mean? And then you're stuck in a house where, you know, and to a degree, you know, we're social animals. Humans are social animals. We're interactors. Do you know what I mean? And yes, we got the internet and all sorts, but it's not the same as physically interacting, is it?
No, it isn't. And funny enough, I was talking to my neighbour today. The reason I've seen all these people is because I've been out doing my garden today, so everybody stopped to have a chat.
Yeah, well, that's good.
It took me to get my garden done, but hey, that's the way it is. My neighbour came out and he said, "Oh, you know what?" He said, "I thought I'd really enjoy working at home." He said, I don't like it at all.
Yeah.
He said, I don't see anybody, I don't see my colleagues, I'm not interacting with people that are on my same business level, knowledge-wise. He said he really needs to work at home, and now he's doing it, it's brought home to him that actually he's more of a social animal, he realised.
Yeah, and it's
especially
true.
in the business world, you know, because when you're at a certain level in industry, you need to be surrounded by people of the same
ilk,
intellect, if you like. And he said he really misses that, having his colleagues around him.
That's the same as people that you know, there are out or just go for a walk in town and talk to a few people they know to chill out. I know Glastonbury. I mean, Glastonbury's when I lived there, and that was heaving with people all the time, and it took you about an hour to walk down one side of the street up the high street because people be standing talking to you.
But what might be interesting out of it, to be honest with you, there's quite an interesting concept going on here, because the bin lady was saying that alcohol consumption has clearly rocketed.
Yeah, it will.
At home alcohol consumption.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be a lot cheaper than buying it in a licensed premises.
Yeah.
And, you know, from an onlooker's point of view, and from an experiment point of view, if you want to put it that way, how is that going to affect the social activity coming out of this? And how are the publicans going to feel, and all the people that sell alcohol, if their profits suddenly drop, even in normal circumstances?
Yeah.
Because people have suddenly realised, actually, we were spending a lot of money outside of the home that we didn't need to.
Yes, and I agree. But there's, unfortunately, the world we live in is a world with a lot of people that are incredibly stressed with their jobs, incredibly under pressure with inside themselves, because they might have some mental issues of whatever description, that they can't talk to their partner. There might be issues between them. There might be issues with the family, and you know, their thing was to go to work because they concentrate on something else, and when they come home, they literally can then just, you know, put up with it for a while, if you like, and then go to work next day, and then they go and play golf or go to the pub or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, they can. They've got an escape from
Yeah.
it.
There's no escape here anywhere.
There's no escape. There isn't for any of us.
The damage, the mental damage that's going to happen to a lot of people, it's absolutely vast, and that's
Well,
without
why
the
don't
people that
worry,
have got
because
problems anyway.
Don't worry, we'll be okay because we've got Prince Harry to sort us out on that one. You don't need to worry about
Prince
that.
Harry, yeah, Prince Harry, who in his privileged lifestyle decides to come out of the royal family, because unfortunately he's not Prince Charles's son. He's Mr. James Hewitt's son, I believe, but that's not common knowledge. That's allegedly, apparently.
I would agree with you.
And he went with that lady over to Canada and then America, and now he's homesick.
Yes, yes. Can I have with your show tonight? Have you mentioned about Captain Tom doing the laps of his garden?
No, I haven't. I was going to mention that in a minute, because
I just want to say, because I need to go, but I just wanted to say that I agree he should be given a knighthood.
Yeah, I do as well.
Achievement.
You know, he's 100, isn't he?
Yeah, on the 30th of April, he'll be 100.
Yeah, and he's done 100 laps of his garden, and he's raised something like 13 or 14 million pounds.
He has.
Which is absolutely phenomenal. And, you know...
14 million now it's up to.
How much?
14 million.
Righty. That's for the NHS, I take it.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely unbelievable. And I person has lived through many wars and many situations, and you know, I feel that these people, you know, they must look at this life and think, what the hell's going on? Do you know what I mean?
Oh, exactly. He said he felt that was the last thing he could do for his country before he reached 100. So he thought he would give it a go, and he thought he would just raise maybe £1,000.
Yeah.
He's raised 14 million.
14 million. He does need a knighthood. I take my hat off to him. Immense, absolutely immense. And so
listen, guys, ring in, give him your views, just have a chat with him, and I've got to go now.
Well, it's lovely to speak to you, Linda. Thank you very much for ringing.
But thank you for taking my call.
That's all right, and we'll speak to you soon.
Food for thought.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye. Interesting thing. I want to read this out as well. I was just about to mention, in regards to the chap that's walked around his garden 100 times, and he's 100 at the end of this month. I wanted to bring up a message that I had come through. Again, I won't put a name to this, but it's very interesting because this person said, let's find the right message. Here we are. The war veteran raising all the money is great morale and NHS. But this person goes on to say, which is, I completely believe, but he goes on to say they do. But when the government are arranging and paying thousands to import hundreds, they are paying thousands of pounds to import hundreds of migrants to pick fruit when we have people with no food or jobs. Then they are being boarded and kept. It's just bonkers, the person says. And it is, because there is a workforce here. I know they put a campaign out there, and I know the campaign was very much in regards to, you know, we need 40,000 pickers and all sorts of that. So loads of people could go and do that. Do you know what I mean? But no, it's not on the news. Nobody's reporting it. And then they get loads of migrants come over. Now, when these migrants come over, obviously, They're coming from countries which are infected. I mean, the whole thing's farcical, isn't it? And Matthew Johns come through and said our council tax money could build recycling centre everywhere and then drop our bills from selling the recycling like Sweden do. I couldn't agree more. It's a good idea. Fantastic. He also says maybe it's about time we grew up and learned our rights. Those who sleep on their rights don't have any. It's fine. And Jason McCusker says it's really a kids virus. We spent years trying to get the kids outside and away from computer and games consoles, and now they're being told to stay in and play on them. The first wave of robot kids. And then Matthew Johns agrees with him, and Matthew Johns says money doesn't exist. Money doesn't exist, only trust. That's very true itself. Another story that was in the press in the last week that caught my eye, if you like, which was it's quite an amazing story. This is a 73-year-old grandfather has bragged about how sex with his twin king, a retired physicist with 3 grandchildren, has boasted how he's madly in love with freelance photographer Sarah Bower. Despite being a self-proclaimed dinosaur, he lives at Yellowstone Park in Wyoming and has been in a relationship with Sarah from Cologne in Germany for 18 months. And the couple first met when Sarah couch surfed at his house. And they go a long, long time. And he says it is the best sex he's ever had. It's an amazing relationship. That's a 73-year-old grandfather that is with a 29-year-old. So, I mean, age doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Age is just a number. I just thought I'd read it out because it's a very interesting article. And he goes into great detail, not what they get up to, but having their first kiss, down to, I'll read a little bit. A December 2018 break with a couple, having their first kiss as she pulled in up at the airport. It was during the same trip that the lovebirds climbed into bed together for the first time. That kiss really started something. We got somebody else on the phone now. Hello, who's calling the Inview tonight?
Hello.
Hello, Matthew. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. Not bad at all. It's a shame that a few more callers, but, it's how it is. You know what I mean?
That's why I thought I'd ring you.
Well, that's very kind of you, Matthew. Thank you very much. How are you tonight?
Yeah, I'm good. I've in a very fortunate place that I'm allowed to go out, and due to the guidelines, I'm still able to work. So,
and what do you do, Matthew? For people out there who don't know what you do.
Well, currently I'm a window cleaner.
Yeah.
Is my sort of other income. I also do all manner of tarot and all sorts of different things. But yes, that's my main job. And
so window cleaning, you're allowed to go out there doing that at the moment. That's good.
Well, it says in the guidelines that if you can't work from home, you can go to work. Well, I can't exactly clean windows from home, can I?
No.
To my current situation, that I'm allowed, able to still work.
Yeah.
But for all the people that are struggling out there,
I think I brought it up, Matthew, because I think it's a valid point. And the only reason I think it's a valid point is because we are heading down a doom tunnel, what I see here, where there is such a mass amount of people forgotten here that are sitting on red light, no money. They're sitting on universal credit that they're not going to get for weeks. They're sitting self-employed, not getting anything for till June. I mean, and they still got to eat. Do you know what I mean? Nobody's talking about these people. And then the homeless, the homeless that haven't got anything. And as I said, in India, most of the population in India live on the street.
You know when things are bad, although you say you live in a community, i.e. a town or a village or whatever, things are bad, especially down where I live, where the donkeys get treated better than the homeless.
Mm.
And, all right, I'm not against animal cruelty, and I think some of these donkeys have had a rough ride, but, it comes a time where you think, well, actually, we're not looking out for one another in society.
No,
we're
we're
not
not.
looking out for one of each other in the community. We couldn't give a rat's arse about one another.
No, I couldn't give a monkeys. No, I couldn't give a monkeys.
People around, you know, it's we've got this such a selfish and greedy world, and this is exactly what happened to Atlantis.
I totally agree with it. It imploded on itself.
It imploded on itself, and that is what we're going through right now. We're going through a massive shift, a massive awakening, and although, you know, I think someone said it the other day, we need to stop focusing on what they keep telling us.
Yeah.
Because actually, they're getting us to project our own future for us. We could change this in an instant if we all just came together, agreed on certain things, and actually co-created a new world. That's what really needs to happen. We need to stop fucking worrying about recycling. We need to stop worrying about money, because believe it or not, money doesn't exist.
Yeah. The problem is, Matthew, with all due respect, and I have a lot of respect for you. People out there that are not as switched on as you or me or many people listening, are sitting there thinking, well, that's all right, but I need money to live. Do you know what I mean? Even though I know it doesn't exist and it's not real, but right now, if they need to go and buy a tin of baked beans and they have got 10p and they need another 30p to go to Aldi to buy a tin of baked beans, and they're scratching about, they need to go and buy them. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that is very true. That is very true.
You know, and I feel out of it. What you're saying, I feel needs to come, definitely. But, you know, I feel that the fear or worry and anxiety within people out there is not just what it is right now, because it's farcical, to be honest. And I went through a long list of things that I don't feel is correct. So therefore they're not taking it serious, and it's a complete shambles, to be honest. Is the fact that, you know, we aren't looking at the bigger picture right now. The people themselves are looking at one thing, this, because it's in their face all the time. They're not, if there was people on television that had airtime on our news channels to say, okay, you know, we're all in this situation, but we're here to help. We're here to help. If you had, you know, if you had, I don't know, 3 or 4 programs a day on one channel that anyone can go to on BBC or ITV, which were people from the Universal Credit, people from answering questions, telling people what's going on, how you do things. Do you know what I mean? We don't have any of that. It's just, you've just got to get on with it and wait. And that is not good enough. Do you know what I mean?
No, it isn't. I mean, I don't want to sound complacent, and I don't want to sound ungrateful, and I'm just speaking my truth. So
yeah.
I've been learning the law for the last 5 years, and you know, because I got fed up with the system, I got fed up with asking these same questions, and I got fed up of asking MPs that would ask me a question and not answer any bloody thing. So I got to the stage, well, what's left? Well, let's look at the law. What does the law say? Because what else is there?
Yeah.
And actually, what has transpired is we did have a constitution, a fully fledged written one, but it started with the Magna Carta,
which was never signed
when we were under tyranny with King John.
Yeah.
And the people.
Magna Carta was never signed by our Queen.
It's not the Magna Carta. It would be the Coronation Oath.
The Coronation Oath. That's right. Yeah.
The Coronation Oath of, I think it's 1953, but I could be wrong. She signed it at the top of the paper, and we all know that is void in inception. That means she has never been our Queen from the start. Now, when you read the Coronation Oath Acts of 1953, it states in there that she is holder of the office of sovereign. It doesn't mean that she's just sovereign or the only sovereign. It means that she is there to protect us. She is there to protect our inalienable rights as sovereign beings of a sovereign country. And what has happened is we've let an imposter in who hasn't signed the oath properly and has actually just been a figurehead for the corporate piracy that goes on every day.
Corporate piracy, yeah. You're right there.
Piracy, mate. They have been ripping it out of all of us, all of our energy. And I'm sorry, but if you don't think you're a debt slave right now, I think you need to wake up, because you are. And money doesn't exist. If you start looking at the law, the main ones to go and look at is the Bills of Exchange Act 1882. In that Act of Parliament, that tells you what money is.
Mm.
It tells you that money is a promise to pay, and that is all it'll ever be in this current system.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, we're in a system of bankruptcy. Every country in the world is bankrupt, and that's why we print paper money, because it's worthless. It's not backed by anything. This is why we've got in such a bloody state.
Yeah.
And the system has just spiraled out of control, because the paper money that we carry around in our pockets is debt.
Yeah.
Is debt to a central bank which is privately owned.
Yeah.
And if you look back in his story, the Rothschilds brought the Bank of England at the Battle of Waterloo, just at the end of the Battle of Waterloo.
Mm.
They brought the Bank of England, made it into a private corporation, and then started charging our government for printing money out of thin air. Oh my God. Yeah? What the fuck?
Yeah,
And
the
then what you
Rothschilds,
realise-
trillion. They're not in every country, though.
Yeah, no, but it'd be all the ones that we've been trying to go to war with, eh? Interesting, that. The thing is...
I know what you're saying, and I completely agree with you. And, you know, it's something that should be put on television to tell people that this is what it is. This is what's going on. And this Skoldo, we've all watched the programs, whatever they might be, and that in relation to the Knights Templars, the Vatican, this government, well, not this government, but the centuries ago government, and the carving up of lands and rights and money and God, it's all corrupt. Everything's corrupt, and it has been for centuries and centuries and centuries. And we are coming to a time where that's where you say we are at a time where that's finished. It's gone. It's dusted, and it's got to be something new. Now, all these that are in power are scared stiff right now. I can tell you, they're scared stiff because basically they've lost.
Yeah,
they've lost.
They have lost.
They've lost everything.
Yeah, because actually, when you pull back the veil and you look behind the curtain, you can see the facade for what it is. Yes. So basically, every MP in Parliament is a corporation operating as a corporate entity.
Yeah.
All under one roof.
That's why.
Realise,
sorry. That's why I said that a lot of them in cabinet are multi-millionaires.
Yeah.
Michael Gove is a multi-millionaire.
Not about serving the people, it's about serving yourself.
Yeah.
And that's all it's ever been for the last 800 years, really.
Yeah.
The important thing to note is the Constitution was usurped. So when Magna Carta was signed, the Pope annulled it the next year. And the Pope also put everything into trust. And then the story just gets thicker and thicker and thicker. But basically, my comment earlier, those who sleep on their rights don't have any. So unfortunately, if you really want the world to change, you're going to have to pick up a law book. You're going to have to look at our done. It's only going to be the people that can hold them accountable for their mistakes that are really going to do anything.
I think something's going to happen before that, to be honest, because
possibly.
I do feel I do respect completely what you're saying, and you're absolutely right. But I think there's got to be an onslaught before that, because I'm not being funny, but the sheeple people, well, it rhymes. I didn't know that. The sheeple people, which I'm not being detrimental to them, which are very scared, very frightened, and very lost and very isolated at the moment, believing everything that their ministers like Matt Cock says, and all the rest of the phony crowd, and Boris Johnson, who hides away, because I know he wasn't well, and I don't wish any harm on anyone, but
was he? I don't believe he was.
Wow.
I couldn't believe if he was or wasn't.
Yeah. But he's not. Look, he's not a person that comes out in time. He's a person. He's a buffoon. He's a court jester. He's somebody that if there's something serious, he'll be gone. Do you know what I mean?
He only took 7 days to get better, just the same as Prince Charles.
I know, and that's why I asked.
What remedy did you take?
Oh yeah, well yeah, and there's Kate Garraway's husband still laying in a hospital bed, weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, what is going on? Yeah, I completely agree. But to put it in context, when the reason we're doing a show, and it is to enlighten, it is anyone's view to come on and speak about anything they want to do. And I do understand that what you're saying has very high value. But right now, for a lot of people out there, some of them will be looking at what you're saying, but a lot of people won't, because they're going to be worrying about, I need to feed my kids, I need to feed me, I need to pay my mortgage, I need to pay my rent. I'm not allowed to go out. I've got to stay in this house. What am I going to do? I'm bored. And because nobody's looking at this is a vacuum that's waiting to go off, I feel.
Yeah.
And I feel another 3 weeks. And then at the end of them 3 weeks, potentially another 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I don't know. Or I don't know how they're going to drip feed people back into society when many of the restaurants that were open are going to be shut because they've gone bust. A lot of the shops have gone bust. Nobody will have any money to go anywhere anyway. There'll be hordes of people standing on streets like in the 30s. Do you know what I mean? It that's what we should be looking at. Do you know what I mean?
Nearly, yes, I agree. Nearly every customer that I speak to, most of them, think it's all a load of bullshit.
Yeah. I know. Most of the people I talk to, exactly the same. But, you can't get away with that obviously the very sad loss of people. But going back to what we've spoke about before many times, the fact that we have to put it in perspective. I mean, put it in perspective is looking at, yes, it's very sad. And it's very sad because they're all connected to us, and they're people we know, and it's very sad and it's very upsetting that these people go and all sorts. But going back to what I started talking about, which is may not be popular with people, might not want to look at it because it doesn't mean anything to them. But right now in the world today, right now, and it's not over, it's another 4 hours to go. 26,682 people, 26,684 people, which has gone up one, have died of hunger.
Wow.
Today, so far.
Just puts it into perspective of it. And especially with a virus that A is created inside your body. This is just my belief. You can
yeah.
The viewers out there can disagree with me. I really don't care, because I'm not here to make anyone believe anything. But I mean, a lot of people try and convince you, and it's like, well, no, I'm not trying to convince you. I know what I know because I've gone and researched it. I've also gone and double cross-referenced it and made sure that I know what I'm talking about. But especially when it comes to the law, there's people being arrested for sitting on a bench. Really?
I know.
I don't think so.
And look, everyone's entitled to their opinion. When I put that post on there, I had like 45 comments, and some of them were like, well, the person shouldn't be sitting there, or because they should move on and all sorts. But hang on a minute. My argument with it is the fact that exercise is, as the woman says on that film, is not quantified in what exercise is. So it can be physical, mental, or whatever, can't it?
Yeah.
And probably for her, that lady, seeing that sunset was as good as having a 4-mile run, because it would have given her a nice bit of calmness and peace. Instead of that, she's got a stupid officer that's obviously been watching her for an hour, saying you've been sitting there for an hour and you have to move on. There's nobody there. There's nobody around the bed. It's only my opinion. And I know some people don't agree with it, because there's too many people that actually that I feel are almost, well, you say sleep awake. They're drugged by these people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
And I respect them, but I don't believe what they say that she should be moved on is right, in my opinion.
No.
Because this is only the beginning, as you know yourself. Because when we come out of this, we will social distance, which means football grounds are going to have hardly anyone in it because they can't stand near each other. Do you know what I mean? And or if they have anyone in it at all, and you know, we won't. We. There's a lot of things that we used to do we won't do because it won't be allowed, and we will be you know, having distance between ourselves when we're out and about everywhere. So the commonplace of standing in a queue 2 meters apart from each other will be standard, and it will be here forever.
It'll be an oddity to actually give someone a hug or go anywhere near anyone.
Yeah, and you know, I do feel it's a breakdown of people need hugs, people need connection. Do you know what I mean? And I mean pubs. When you go in a pub, the funny thing is, all these officers, all these police officers, they're all standing in a crowd. All these nurses being filmed, dancing about in a corridor, hospital corridor, all standing together. You know, and
I mean, to be fair to them, they do work together all the time.
Yeah,
so
of course.
Actually, and like I was going on about the virus, if you're going to get a virus, you're going to get it anyway.
Yeah, but aren't we going too far down a health and safety nanny state road?
Yeah.
When it comes to a point where we are becoming so sterile that actually it's going to do more harm to us as humans than if we went out there and ate dirt and ate sand and rolled in mud.
Yeah.
Because you know, we are built in certain way to be able to cope with a certain amount of viruses. And whether people like it or not, and I know people don't like it, the fact that we can't live forever. We're not immortal. And it comes to a point, I think we discussed it last week, and it was not in jest, it is a serious subject. When it's time to go, it's time to go. And most of these people, a lot of these people that have been put down as dying with COVID-19 actually have already got other issues. And the COVID-19, because the arrest cases have gone right down. And that's the biggest killer in this country.
Yeah. I thought abortions was the biggest killer.
Well, yeah. Well, there's 12 million of them all around the world so far this year.
But yeah. That's a lot in 4 months, isn't it?
It is.
3.5.
I said before, you can check it out, Worldometer.
I know what you're saying. We get schooled though, don't we? We get schooled and we have to bow to authority, and we have to learn to be a slave, and we have to sit in a row and put our hand up if we want to speak. And you know, it's ingrained in us.
Yeah.
In the first 20 years of our lives that we must be a good. Just get, you know, why
And,
not?
you know, do you know what?
Concentrate on yourself.
If people actually, if people were a fly on the wall in a cabinet meeting, you'd see Boris and all Rabbit and bloody Matt Cock and all that lot all sitting around a table laughing their heads off. Wouldn't you?
Yeah. You know that, going back to that girl on your post this week. Now, a lot of people thought she was being just bloody awkward, but actually, she knew her rights. And even if you listen to her, when he said, "Oh, I need to issue you a fine," you're going to issue me fuck all because I ain't going to give you my name. Yeah. Oh, we'll have to arrest me then. Go on then. I'll still be walking out of the police station a free man or a free woman.
Yeah. Because
I know who I am. You can try and coerce me into bloody jobbing in myself as a slave, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
And that's the power that we have. We just got too scared of standing up to authority. And when was that ever a thing for an Englishman?
I know.
Fuck's sake, really?
I know.
It's about and you know, I do get that a lot of people just think I'm being flippant or just think I'm being awful when people are struggling and that, you know. I don't think we've even seen the worst of it yet.
No, we haven't.
Like, give it another 3 weeks, give it another 6 weeks, then we're going to see people really kicking off. Because, the government's giving us 80%. Yeah, we're not going to get it till June. We're all going to be fucking bankrupt.
Yeah.
Hey!
Yeah. But you're going to have an enormous amount of people unemployed that would be like what you see in the north, in the 30s, in London, where there'll be huge groups of people standing around with nothing to do.
Yeah.
And not social distancing.
And the only thing that will be left is the massive corporations that we've let fucking take over.
Yeah.
And that's what's happened since the Second World War.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and corporations rule the world.
I'm sorry, but that is the way it is.
Yeah.
The Second World War never ended because it went into covert. You got all these interest-free loans that helped rebuild Germany, and then it fucking just took over, mate. Look at BMW, look at Mercedes.
Yeah.
And then you look at things like Operation Paperclip, where all the German scientists and top bods went to America after the war and carried on their research.
They did.
Oh, and then you start questioning if you're under mind control. Well, you fucking are. That's just plain and simple.
Yeah.
There's a patent, right? Get this. There's a patent through watching the telly box. There's a patent that can control your nervous system.
Yeah.
Holy fuck, with frequency.
Yeah.
So, that's why you get so enthralled by the news, and it's just all, bad, and they never sort anything out. So
unless you actually watch, if you watch Al Jazeera and RT, it's a little bit different.
Yeah, but it's still controlled by a narrative of what they want you to see in that area. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I was even surprised the BBC reported that the fact that 91% of people that died didn't die, vanish.
Yeah.
Wow.
So last thing I'm going to say, and then I'm going to let somebody else come on and say goodnight to you, is that, now is the time, even though you might be struggling, a bag of rice goes quite a long way, you can survive. And you actually can survive on a little bit of fasting.
Yeah.
Don't eat too much. Don't be so gluttonous. Take some time out. Drink some more water. Stop drinking fucking poison.
Yeah.
Stop drinking the alcohol for a minute and actually take a fucking mirror out and look at yourself.
Yeah.
Because actually, that's what really needs to happen right now.
It does. It is a time. It's a time of reflection, definitely.
Yeah. And the thing is the reason you can't handle most of the information I've probably talked about this evening is because you're poisoned up to fuck.
Mm.
Look at fluoride. Look at what fluoride does to you and your body.
Yeah.
And it's put in our water.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's put in our toothpaste. Fluoride is an actual byproduct of an industry, industrial process, and it actually will eat through concrete, and that goes in your body. And
aspartame and Coca-Cola is renowned. You can clean toilets with Coca-Cola and floors.
Yeah. So all of that crap that you keep consuming, and then when you get a piece of truth or someone sort of starts saying about the law, you can't handle that information because you're too fluoridated. You're too
fluoridated.
You're too poisoned.
Yeah.
You need to cleanse yourself. You need to learn about fasting, which helps reboot your immune system. You need to learn about drinking more water and actually just eating the right things. I mean, a lot of people must be eating better through not going out to takeaways and not.
Well, yeah, because you can't buy flour anywhere. Apparently, it's flour's got to run on flour like toilet rolls.
There must be some fucking good bakers out there. I want to see some cakes online. Come on.
Yeah, you don't see that, do you?
No. I want to see your creations. Everyone's buying bloody flour.
Yeah, you can't buy it anywhere. Apparently, flour it's gone.
Maybe they're just baking bread.
Probably is. Yeah, baking bread.
Yeah. Now is the time to reflect. Now is the time to pick up a book and actually maybe just do a bit of research of your own. And I don't like the term awaken asleep. I think it's bollocks because at the end of the day, I was asleep once,
Yeah.
But make a change. Stop. You can get fluoride-free toothpaste. You can get distillers to clean your water and actually drink some decent water. Actually, a number one tip for you is if you drink distilled water, it will leach all the heavy metals out of your body. But the big thing to be careful of is obviously distilled water is actually pure water. There's nothing in it.
Yeah. So
there's no beneficial factor of actually giving you any minerals, but it will help you detox and pull the shit out of your body.
Yeah.
So go and look that up and just start doing it. You will feel so much better. And then you will be able to handle some of this, what we term as negative talk about all the shit.
Yeah.
Because I've been there. I've been through all of it for the last 5 years. And I can tell you, that's why I kicked off on a post this week. It was like, do you know what? I'm online too much. I need to get detoxing this shit.
Yeah, I know. I do understand that. And I mean, it's not a case of wanting to go the way to. It's not about me. What I'm trying to say, I put things on my wall, all various things, from funny things to very serious to some very, very dark, serious stuff for people to look at. I want people to look at it and come to a conclusion. Do you know what I mean? And you know, the things that are on there, if they stay on there, because obviously Facebook are crashing a lot of stuff and taking it out, aren't they? But a lot of it is on there. It's for people to look at and have a think. And it's about bringing humility and laughter and fun into it. But it's also about looking at the seriousness. Look, you know as well as I do, and a lot of people there know that there is all sorts of other agendas going on here that are far bigger than even what we're talking about. But you can't crack a nut with a toothbrush. Do you know what I mean? So it's a bit by bit fraction, and then there'll be a swamp, a launch.
Yeah, we're in a transformational period.
Yeah,
and we must start treating it as such. And look at the caterpillar and the butterfly.
Yeah.
The most pain is when the caterpillar is turning into the butterfly and going through that phase of breaking down and destroying itself, basically. Yeah. This needs to happen for humanity, I'm afraid.
We have to.
Really like hard truths that people are going to have to come to terms with.
Yeah. The
people that you're ridiculing right now are actually the heroes. The people that you think are there to help you and are there for you, they are not who they say they are.
Yeah.
Everything is, you know, the one thing about Parliament is they pass acts. What do actors do? They act.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what all them fuckers in there do, I'm afraid. And legislation is company rules. And then you realise that you're living in a company called the United Kingdom Limited, and it all starts to make sense. Yeah, we've been duped, we've been usurped, and we've actually got a de facto government, a criminal dictatorship. And we need to get back to a de jure government where the people represent the people.
Absolutely, again. I agree. I totally agree. Totally agree.
I would love to be Oliver Cromwell and go in that parliament and fucking string them all up. I would fucking do it.
Yeah. Well, you might come across Captain Coolbroy while you're in there.
We might have to start getting the pitchforks out.
Well, the thing that really, just the last thing I'll say, the thing that really annoyed me, and I know it's about British stiff upper lip, and it's about being, you know, still in this illusionary empire that doesn't exist anymore with this country. But, you know, Catherine, whatever her name is, can't remember, launching the We'll Meet Again. The song by Vera Lynn.
Easter speech.
Yeah. Releasing her song out again, which is number 2 in the charts or something. Which, you know, this is the British spirit. This is a British stiff upper lip. The problem is that, you know, unfortunately, we're not in that same place and not the same people. Do you know what I mean? It's too diverse. We've had, as I said before, we had Brexit for 3 years, 4 years nearly, split the country. We had a general election, split the country. And then we had floods and God knows what else happened. And then, you know, and Prince Andrew and all the other stuff that went on as well. And then we have this. You know what I mean? It's just a continuation of transformation and change.
And it's also them testing us to see how far they can push
and what they can get away with. I agree.
See how far they can push the slaves before they kick off.
Yeah.
And we've been, well, where's all the good men gone? I'm sorry, but where have we all gone? We've not come together at all. No. That's just by design. It's so fragmented,
and that's why people like you and people like me will not be silenced, because, you know, we do it because there's an intention inside us to what we do, because we're truth seekers and want people to wake up and listen. I've been doing it for years.
Yeah, I know you have, and it's probably nice for you now to see some of the younger ones coming through and doing it as well.
Yes, definitely is. Yeah,
rather than feeling on your own still or feeling.
Yeah. Well, I do feel part of a big community that is rising. So yeah.
There is going to be the last thing I'll say is there is going to be a big divide coming, and unfortunately, it's just the way it is. You can't. You can. I've tried so many times to wake different people up, but actually, sometimes it does more harm than good.
Yeah.
It does more harm to them than you just actually going about your business and being honourable, decent, and proper.
Yeah.
Say what you mean and mean what you say. Don't fucking lie. Don't hide behind shit. Just be a decent human being and actually care for one another. That's the main thing. Just forget all the bullshit. They can't do anything to us. Once you're as powerful as me and you, there's nothing they can do.
No.
Me away. I'm sovereign. I am divine. I am here, and so are you. And I don't bow to any authority.
No
one has the right to come between me and the Creator.
Yeah.
Nobody. And that is how powerful you are.
Yeah.
Yeah?
And when people say they have no power, you have more power in you, one person, than many.
Exactly. But it's about knowing, and I tell you what, the law has helped me, because the law makes you see things for what they are. The law is truth, and the law is absolute. You cannot argue with the law.
Yeah.
But if you don't know the law, you know what you're arguing about.
Yeah.
You have no idea who you really are, you see.
Yeah.
But when you realise that you're as powerful as the Queen, you're a sovereign being. You know, there is nothing you can do. It's just the constructs that they've wrapped around us as slaves. They're busy fucking paying for our own slavery.
Yeah.
Right, anyway, I'm going to say goodnight because I keep rattling on. And,
well, it's good to speak to you, Matthew. Thanks for ringing in.
You're welcome, and thank you for having me.
All right.
And I hope you get some more guests on. Please ring in.
Yeah. Well, I'll speak to you soon. All right.
Take care, Clint.
Thanks a lot. All right.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Right. There's Matthew there. Matthew John, been on the show many times. And very, very powerful in views. But he's right. You know, a lot of what he talks about is right. Look it up. It's a bit like what he puts on his wall is for people to look up and see what's going on. You know, wake up and smell the coffee, basically, because it is nothing in life is what it is. It's different. It's very, very different. Just checking messages on the phone here. No, nothing coming there. Okay. All right. To give you a heads up, what's coming up on Sunday, that is the Inview. This is the Inview Connect, which is very... Oh, someone else is ringing me. What about that? Hello, who is this calling the Inview? Hello. Hello, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm very well. Who are you calling the Inview tonight?
I'm Captain Cusbro.
Captain Cusbro. Are you like a superhero?
Well, super something.
So what are you captain of, Captain Cusbro?
I'm captain of the universe and everything.
Really? Wow. And you are my cousin as well.
Absolutely.
I didn't know you were a captain, Captain Cusbro.
Well, I am now.
So you've elevated yourself to a captain?
Yes, absolutely.
Why not? Why not? You know, so what do you do as a captain?
Well, not a lot, just being a normal human being. Go to work. Well, fortunately, I'm not knocked down. So, go to work and go home, have a cider or two like I'm doing this evening, chuck a few darts. Yeah. And have various opinions on several subjects.
Yeah, absolutely. And Matthew John says, do I need to get my pitchfork, Jason?
No, not yet. No, we haven't raided the House of the Parliament.
Oh, is this why you've elevate yourself to a captain, so that when that day comes, you can lead your troops onward?
Yeah, I'll have Guy Fawkes there as well in between.
Yeah. Well, he was talking about, Matthew John was talking about storming Parliament, but I said he might meet Captain Corboy.
He may well do meet Captain Corboy in there. and the fish tank with Boris Johnson popping up and there.
and all his cabinet standing around it, and with Matt Cock as well.
Well, you see, the fish tank is on top of the cabinet.
Is it?
Yeah, if you open the cabinet doors.
Oh, that's not a television in there. It's a big fish tank.
No, it's on top. It's on top of the cabinet.
All right.
It's got to be on top, isn't it?
Is it the fish that make all the decisions, do you think?
It's, I'm not going there. You know well, the fish are coming.
Yeah, that's true. You keep mentioning the fish. I keep mentioning the fish. I shouldn't mention the fish, should I?
Yeah.
So what's your view on how things are at the moment then, Captain Cusbro?
How things are at the moment? Well, I like to take a humorous approach to it sometimes, as I posted a little earlier.
Well, I think that's a really important thing. Humour's really important.
Well, that's it. I mean, for years we've been telling our kids to get out and play.
Yeah.
Play in the park, that sort of thing, whatever, and that. And now we're telling them to stay in.
Yeah.
And yes, I think it's. I use the term loosely, so easier these days.
Media,
now,
yeah. What do you think of the media, isn't it? I talk about it as fear porn.
No, I didn't say media. I said easier.
Oh, sorry, easier.
Easier this day. What I mean by that is, if this happened, coronavirus thing happened 30 years ago, it would be a different story.
Yeah.
People, trying to keep people in because they will get a lot more bored. Now, kids and all that sort of thing, they have their toys, their game consoles, computers, and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Teenagers and even adults talking to each other and out on Skype or on Facebook or on whatever format. That sort of thing. But back then, it would have been a whole different story. Now, yeah, my take on it these days, what's happening now is, well, it is what it is. Now, we don't have an awful lot of choice than to abide by the government guidelines, that sort of thing, and which we do to a large extent. Yes, it's okay to question that sort of thing, and it's okay to say, well, I need to go out further. Lockdown now is extended 3 weeks. And
but you're not in lockdown, are you? Because you're a key worker, aren't you?
Well, I consider us key workers because I'm an MOT tester, and at the moment I'm working for QuickBed, and of course they've got over 600 odd branches across the country. Yeah, so they're close to the queue, but their attitude is, which is, it's right to a degree, is to stay open because key workers, nurses, whatever, that sort of thing, if they get punctures, they might need tyres, you've got to keep them on the road.
Are you dealing with a lot of NHS workers at the moment?
We have one or two. We don't have a great deal, no.
Do you have normal? Do you have what I call normal people come in, everyday life people?
Yeah, you get one or two. Not a lot. I mean, well, even 10. I'll do normally 10 a day.
Wow.
Exactly. But because the DVSA changed the ruling that and after the 30th of March, you got a 6 month extension on your MOT. Yeah.
Automatically,
A lot of people don't realise that, and there's a lot of, especially these companies, that they still got to keep it up.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of lease companies, and they need their cars, for paperwork and all that sort of thing done and dusted. So,
do you think anyone's really leasing cars out there? I suppose they are still, aren't they?
Do you really what?
Leasing car companies. You're doing a lot of them at the moment, are you?
Oh yeah, doing a lot of lease cars.
Is that because a lot of people are actually using lease cars at the moment?
Oh, there's an awful lot. Most businesses will have directors, they have managers of this or whatever, that sort of thing, and that they lease their cars. normally get a 3-year-old or brand new cars, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It comes out with a pay packet, so much a month, that sort of thing, for the privilege to have a brand new car, but it's all the time you're working for the company because it's no good for, say, a sales rep going into going for a meeting or something like that, or going to see someone and beating up old Mini.
Well, no, that's true. But I mean, technically, I know even though they might be key workers, a lot of them technically should be, well, if they can, if they're managers, I suppose they could work from home, couldn't they?
Yeah, they could do. But who am I to ask?
Well, yeah, I know. Yeah. I was just saying, that's all. It's just, you can't do your job from home because you'd need the whole equipment fit in your front room.
Yeah. I need to blow most around as well. How old are to do
Yeah. But, in relation, I know what you're saying, and everyone is to a degree keeping tabs on what they're doing in relation to the guidelines we're told, because you've got to do that as they say. But my problem I have is that there's massive flaws in what they're doing, and we shouldn't be in a situation 2 months down the line with people with no PPE for a start. And we shouldn't be in a situation where 50,000 people are coming back to this country every day and walking straight into this country.
Well, we need to. Whether that's true or not, I don't know.
It is true. It is true. Matt Cox said about it this morning on TV.
But the PPE, okay, you've got to get enough made. It's got to be manufactured. It's got to be shipped over or whatever, or blown over or distributed. That sort of thing. Yeah, that's fair enough.
You must wear PPE in your job because you're getting in so many different cars, aren't you?
Yeah. We've only just been getting my face masks now.
All right. Was it?
It's gloves. They've got sanitizer, bloody stuffy shit put on your hands, and then a stick barrier cream on top of that anyway. And then we've got these blue latex gloves. But you're getting into people's cars, and generally you don't know what's out in there.
No.
You start the engine up, and the heat is on, and it's blowing air through. You don't know what fruit is the pollen filter, which it blows through, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
What's in there, any spores or anything? Some of previous cold up a month ago or whatever, to go into your face. So, yeah. But what can you do?
Well, the thing is, what we've done every year up until this year, is what do we do? Well, leading up to this year, now I know that they made the big thing of this, but there is every year, really. Lots of people get it, don't they?
They do to a certain extent, the glue and all that sort of thing, yes, but nothing on this sort of scale or probably a new word, contagiosity.
All right, that is a new word. You've just made that word.
Well, nothing so contagious. It's 3 times. You're 3 times more likely to catch it than you are flu. And of course, a lot of people who have underlying illnesses, that sort of thing, it does affect you.
Yeah.
Considerably more. And especially old people's homes now. You don't get that sort of scale in old people's homes with flu.
The thing is that wasn't that, I know your partner, Susie, works in that sort of area.
Yeah, the carriage, she's out and every day going with various different people visiting that.
Yeah. And obviously, that the risk on them is as high, if not higher, I would say sometimes, than it is on people in NHS, and it's only just being looked at.
Well, it is to a degree, because people in the NHS, if you're in actual emergency or you're on one ward, you just see one sort of group of people and that all the time. That's it. But you go to different places, different houses, here, there, and everywhere around the area.
And she's got all her PPE?
Well, yeah, she wears masks when she can get them.
You see that immediately rolls me up because she wears a mask when she can get them. I mean, we're months down the line. She should have boxes of them in a car.
Yeah, well, I pitched a few from work today, so she's got about 10 anyway. So,
but it's grossly it's contemptuous that these people ain't got the right stuff, have they?
No, it is. However, going back to what you were saying earlier, this is something which is unprecedented.
Oh no, that's word of the moment. That is.
It is. It's nothing to do with Trump either.
Well,
it could be unprecedented. All the time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he unfortunately is blaming China because
this is where I lose it a bit. I think, what the hell's going on? Because wherever it came from, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant where it came from. The fact is, it's here and how we deal with it.
Yeah, but I mentioned earlier on, and I know you spoke about it, I think last week or the week, or somebody did, in relation to Wuhan, who had really massive amounts of this, terrible, and Beijing and Shanghai had nothing.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, and well, according to reports, they haven't got hardly anything.
No.
But I know, who knows? But we can put the blame here, there, and everywhere. The fact is, it's over here.
Yeah.
It's over in Europe and that sort of thing, so we have to do something about it. And because it's new, it hasn't been seen or heard of and all that sort of thing before. It's obviously treatable to some degree.
Yeah, there's thousands of people recovering from it.
Yeah, let's face it, it could have been a damn sight worse.
Yeah. I mean, Matt Cook was salvaged in 7 days. He was all right.
Yeah, I mean, Susie, several weeks, we were talking just after Christmas.
Yeah.
She had aching joints. She had a really dry cough, headaches.
Yeah.
And feeling nauseous, all sorts of things. But really dry cough, difficult to breathe, that sort of thing sometimes. And she went to the doctor, and the doctor said, "It's a virus." This before, I do believe. But you mentioned Brexit earlier. I do believe that if it wasn't at the time too much emphasis is put on Brexit and about what we're going to do, what the rest of the government fixated on Brexit.
Yeah,
I think we missed the boat. I think coronavirus and that, it went underneath the radar. Now, if it wasn't, the Brexit and all that sort of thing wasn't happening, or for whatever reason it got put on hold, whatever, they might have spotted it and done something about it earlier.
Yeah.
So because it was cloudy because of everything, just Brexit this, Brexit that.
I know, for 3 years, 3.5 years. But then we had a general election.
Yeah.
That split the country in two. And, to a degree, there is a sort of division in the country now in regards to this, I feel.
Well, I don't think the country's going to get back the same as it was as much. I mean, you go out there and like Matthew John was saying, you go out there and everybody's out there for themselves. You only got to go to the supermarket to see that a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
Piling up toilet rolls and that, not anybody else. I've got enough, but
Well, there was a guy in America that took back 4,800 toilet rolls to get a refund.
Yeah, bloody idiot.
Well,
it's America, isn't it? What do you expect?
Yeah.
There's all sorts of different things, government conspiracies and whatever you hear about this and that. But for me, this is heading for something totally different. Matthew was saying about
about a conglomerate, a sort of corporation, Britain and all that sort of thing. And I'm thinking it's going much further than that. What this calls for, and what's this start? This is the start of something. Remember Captain Scarlet?
Captain Scarlet.
You remember Captain Scarlet?
I do, yeah.
Well, you had one world government.
Yeah.
You look at Star Trek. Whenever they go to different planets, there's always one body of people they speak to on behalf of the whole galaxy. What's going to happen here?
I don't disagree with you. I think it will, and I think it'd be one currency, and everyone would be microchipped.
It is. Well, microchip, yeah, possibly. And it'll be phased in because it won't be like us. Be ordered in like sheep or something. It's got to be microchipped. It'll be babies born at birth. They're taken away from the mothers, for jaundice or whatever, that sort of shit. And they'll be injected with a microchip.
Yeah.
Then they're born.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can see that happening.
And, they're talking about a vaccine. Obviously, I mean, nothing. Well, there's two things. There's two tests. I mean, the testing is absolutely diabolical, to be honest. There's still 15,000 tests where they promised we'd have 25,000. And now he's promising in 2 weeks' time we have 100,000 a day, and that's on top of all the care workers at NIT, all the carers that like your partner need tested.
What you've got to look at is that's putting a bleaker over things. What you've got to look at is what's coming beneath the radar, and that is they keep on going about we're going to do all these testing, that sort of thing, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 tests, but all the time they say that they keep it a very steady eye on the amount of deaths.
Yeah.
And they are falling gradually.
Well, I mean, before we went into this...
All the time that's going on, all the time it's falling.
Before...
They're thinking, well, we don't need to do that sort of thing. We don't need to test.
Yeah, but the problem is it's misleading information, isn't it? Because people out there are panicking to a degree. And people out there are wanting words of wisdom from people like Matt Cock when he stands up and says, by the end of this month, we're going to have 100,000 tests. And
there's hardly enlightening information, or it doesn't exactly beef up the morale, does it? Now, going back, I do disagree with you what you said earlier.
What was that?
Well, about the Catherine Jenkins, lovely woman, lovely voice, Welsh.
Yeah. Catherine Jenkins, very nice lady.
Teaming up with Vera Lynn.
Yeah.
To do that, meet again, that sort of thing, and then saying it's about it's a hierarchy, that's no, I don't believe it is.
I don't think it's hierarchy. What I said was that I don't feel I can understand it at the time, the 40s when it's released. It was a time of great bringing together people. We're in a war. It was a consciousness thing, bringing all people together. The problem is that yes, I mean, I can understand why they're releasing it because the Queen mentioned it and all sorts as well. So it's another thing, but I do feel that them bringing that out, this is not a war as such. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it is. It is a war. It's a war against virus.
Well, now, yeah, but we have that war every year.
What it does, like it did in the Second World War. Yes, I know that was a war, a totally different physical war after a virus war as such, but its aim is to raise morale amongst the people of the country.
Yeah, I understand that. I don't disagree with that. Anything to raise morale is really important, but the problem is we aren't the same country.
It's that British fighting spirit in the mind.
Yeah.
Not physically, not like it was in the war. Youngsters going out and saying, I want to join up. Nothing like that. It's just getting that mentality in the mind.
Yeah.
Saying, right, we can stay in. We're going to be okay. It's that sort of mentality saying that. That's what it's about.
Yeah, I understand that, but my problem is that we are so diversely mixed. We are not. You know, obviously nobody wants anyone to die. Nobody wants to lose anyone, and you know, it is emotive talking about death itself because people, it's a very difficult subject. But you know, unfortunately, we've had a lot of people die. It's very, very sad, and I you know, take my hat off to everyone that's working on people trying to keep them alive. But you know, when we talk about war, then aren't we over exaggerating a fact by what they're throwing out on the TV on a constant basis? Because it's wall to wall coronavirus. That's it. There's nothing else happening in the world, you know. And I feel that spirit that was there was certainly there in World War II, because you know, everyone really was hands to the mill. But what I see as an observer looking in on what we're living in today is that we've got a country that is riddled, absolutely riddled with issues and problems that have been created by not dealing with root issues. I'm talking about anything and everything from family life to bringing children up, to what you do, how you act, your attitude, your conduct, and your behavior. And what I see is that everything in our society has completely slid away, to be honest. So I understand what you're saying. Yeah, bring it out. I haven't got anything against it, but I just feel that we aren't we're not like that anymore. That was my thought process on it, because we don't deal with the root problem. That's the problem. We just stick plasters on things. You know,
at the moment we're trying to deal with a major problem. Now,
yeah, I know, but that I know what you mean.
The lockdown's been extended for 3 weeks now, and which I thoroughly agree. It should be, and maybe another month or two, because whether you agree with it or not, whether you think it's a hoax or whatever, it's immaterial. Fact is, it's a choice. Stay in and see what happens, and something like that. Then everybody's going to go and want to do that.
Yeah, but
don't want them to sit on the beach, that sort of thing. Now, what we don't want at the moment, it's sort of controlled to a degree. But what we don't want is to let people out, let people do what they want to do, that sort of thing. I know it sounds archaic.
No, I understand what you're saying.
If the second wave comes, because we let people out early, that sort of thing, there's no way of controlling it.
I understand what you're saying, but you know, this is where I don't agree that we should all just go out there. That's why, you know, obviously a lot of people are asking what is the exit plan on it, because you can't just open everything and everyone go out there, because obviously that might create a problem. There's got to be some sort of breakdown of how that happens, and that'd probably be schools first, to be honest. And I do feel that when you see, I'm not knocking anyone or anything, but I just look at this as an observer again. The fact that if we go back to a lady sitting on a bench, she's sitting there to watch a sunset. There's no one around her. There's no one walking near her. And with the situation like that, she is exercising herself mentally to keep herself strong. It's as important as physically exercising. And, you know, we do. And I know that, you know, people, the police there themselves were heavy-handed, and I feel that it's all an unnecessary thing. But at the same time, I understand what you're saying, that they have to abide by a certain conduct or whatever, but nobody actually says that you can't sit on a bench and watch a sunset. Do you know what I mean? You can't mentally exercise. And, you know, when you watch that, you know, it does divide opinion. There are people saying, well, she should just move and all sorts and everything, but there's no one around her. And, you know,
No, but it's the implication of that. Then people, you get the, I don't like to say it, but you get the council of state mentality. You get people go and say, oh, well, sit on a park bench, you know, we can go out and sit on here. We can go out into down by the river, or we can go out and sit out here. There's no one around here. Then everybody starts doing it.
Well, they did, didn't they? Everyone went to Wales. Everyone went to the Black Hills in Wales. Everyone went down to Cornwall. Everyone went to over to Essex and all sorts, and that few weekends ago.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, I did something a bit strange. I thought, well, I'll have a bloody look. This was Friday night, and it was a Saturday morning as well. I just googled it. I went on M5 cameras, and they were bound. And it's in real time. Well, I mean that's because they were photographs. It wasn't actually, well, you know. So
It wasn't a webcam. It was just pictures. Yeah.
Yeah, and they were bound. The roads were bound. So you get occasional, but not hardly anything. Occasional lorry.
I think generally most people didn't go and do anything on Easter because they all complied.
Because I think, you know, that, you see, we are now going to find out in, say, 2 to 3 weeks. That was the key. That's the turning point. Easter would have been the turning point. Because of the weather, because of the way people are, you know, they like to get out in the sun, want to do this, want to do that, want to go down the beach and that sort of thing. But 90% of people will stay at home. So that is going to be the turning point. I think you're going to see figures going down because of that. Because of the Easter holidays, that is going to be the turning point, a massive turning point.
You do know that when we went into lockdown, the government downsized it from its criticality level to a level below. So actually downsized it when we went in lockdown. And yes, there is a lot of people died. I think there's like 500 and something in the West Country that have died through coronavirus. There's 72 in Somerset.
That's probably down to parents who go down there and think, oh, you know, isolate by going down to, you know, a caravan park or go down, you know, tow a caravan down to stay somewhere out of the way. No, it doesn't. We've got to realise it's no escape down there.
No, there's no escape anywhere. But there isn't anyway, because, you know, I know we are looking at a particularly virulent strain, but that, you know, I'm sure, like you had Susie there, your partner, had it terrible. She probably had coronavirus in December. Do you know what I mean?
May well have done. She has a symptom.
Yeah. Crystal Desprez says, did you see the post today of a police arresting a dog walker in London? No, I didn't see that, Crystal Desprez. And Crystal Desprez, and a lot of people have opinions like this. All people who die are put down as having COVID-19 regardless, so the figures are not correct. In actual fact, the figures are not correct anyway, because they're not true reflections. When they read a figure out, it's not a true reflection of the actual amount, because as we know, care homes weren't taken consideration with it anyway. And to a degree, there's a lot of people that agree with Crystal in relation to the fact that, like, Eddie Large died and he had very bad heart problems for a long time, and they put it down to coronavirus. Now, that could be the tipping point to his...
But it also, in a way, you can put it, you know, to be asymptomatic, can't you?
Yeah.
You don't die of AIDS. You didn't die of AIDS. You died of a common cold.
Yeah.
Because what HIV did was just bring your immune system down to zero, and you died of the common cold, that sort of thing.
Well, and there's still up.
These people who died of coronavirus, a lot of them, you know, have underlying health issues. Yeah, that sort of thing. This coronavirus, it killed them off, but they say they died of that, but really, they died of whatever they had.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that has been reported today in the BBC that they're saying 91% of people that's died did not die of coronavirus, even though they've been put down as coronavirus.
It was just
the biggest killer in the world is cardiac arrest. It's heart.
Yeah, I know, but I mean that's always been there. Other things always been there. That's a natural sort of thing. But when you get something like this, which is affecting what we see in the world, what can you do?
Well,
you do
yeah,
what you
but
have to do.
I think
let's face it, if big business, if big business thought, right, okay, there's nothing to worry about, and everywhere, because every country thrives on business. However, it does go, like I was saying to you the other day, that everybody owes money to everybody.
Yeah.
We're still paying off for the Second World War. You know,
and before, probably War of the Roses and God knows what else.
But it's all a circle.
Yeah.
Everybody pays other people, that sort of thing. So that's where the money is. No one's actually owns, no one actually is going to pay the biggest station in the world for this, that. But no one's actually that rich because everybody owes money to everybody else. The only people who don't owe money are the poorest nations.
Yeah. Yeah, but that is even worse because, as I've read already, and a lot of that would be third world countries, unfortunately, like Africa and places like that. I started tonight because I always start off with, because it's about perspective, and there's thousands of people die on a constant basis. Now it's sad that we have loss, but if you look at the figures of people today, not this year so far, but today only, we've got nearly 28,000 people that have died of malnutrition, no food, no water, no anything in the 21st century.
Well, yeah.
Because that comes again down to their own governments that don't look after them properly.
Yeah, but that's always been there.
Yeah. Yeah, but because it's always been there, this is how things have to change, because what has always been there can't be there. And we need to have something different, because it's wrong that we have people buying £6 billion worth of food and storing it in fridges and freezers and all sorts, and 28,000 people died today. That's every day. It's wrong. The balance is all wrong.
Of course, the balance is all wrong.
I've got a couple of comments here. I just run with this with you before sorry about in. Crystal said, and a leading health guy in USA shows that the fatality rate is 0.1% for coronavirus, which is hugely less than influenza. So billions of people all on lockdown worldwide now for a 0.1%, and so much fear. Matthew John said, for anyone who's struggling, please send them my way. I'm here to talk if someone needs someone to talk to. And Christopher Reese says, also, all the terrorists seem to be on holiday lately too. And she says, also, all the news wants to give you is bad news and increased fear. I agree.
Just bear with me a second. I'll disappear for 30 seconds.
Okay.
All right?
That's all right. Well, that's okay. So that is actually true figure there. Oh, he's got a lot of dogs there by the sounds of it as well, Captain Cusbro. Yeah, the terrorists have been very quiet lately, but do we know if they have? Because the problem is, in our world we live in, with the national news and press that we have, which is so biased, basically. I mean, when does BBC, ITV, Channel 4 and Sky look at the plight of people in Africa? When do they look at the people starving to death on the streets of other countries that aren't a profitable, rich country, apparently? I mean, they don't have to go very far, to be honest, because of the 340,000 people that haven't got anywhere to live in this country. Now, they're people, anyone from people on the streets to people that are in what they call accommodations. They could be in hotels or bed and breakfast or whatever. They haven't got a house, but at least they got somewhere. But what about the thousands of people that are living on the streets? I mean, I bring it up all the time because, you know, these people are people, they're souls. And everyone needs a certain decorum of standard. And, you know, for whatever reason, and it might be drugs, it might be this, it might be that, it might have had a breakdown or whatever, people need help. And, you know, it's not reported on, it's not looked at. And another thing I spoke about tonight, which is a real bugbearer for me, not one of the news channels is taking it serious, or even a channel is taking it serious in relation to how to survive this. They could have on TV 2 or 3 times, 4 times a day on a channel devoted to various departments like Universal Credit, like business, that you could ring in and ask questions, and they're there answering questions. How do I do this? How do I do that? What do I do that? And all the simplest little things. Why haven't we got that up and running in this country? Why don't we have people there to help people? Because there is thousands of people out there right now who have the most, probably silliest questions, but they need to ask, but they're on the phone for hours and hours and hours. Signing on, you're in a queue of 10 to 15,000 people. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, Crystal Desprez agrees with me. Yes, reality assistant on TV would be excellent. Look, isn't it such a simple thing to the end of the day? Isn't it a simple thing that BBC One, ITV, Channel 4, Channel 5, Sky, whatever it is, devoted 3 or 4 programs a day for people that came on there for an hour and a half or whatever, or devoted a whole channel to people that you need in this difficult time, that can there and answer questions, so they can phone up that show and speak to people, email the show, text them, or phone them. And they could be anything from Universal Credit, business, banks, it could be anything. Why haven't we got them on TV? Because there's so many people out there that want to know. Do you know what I mean? I don't understand why we're not, when they go so far, say, yeah, we're doing everything we can, but you have to ring this number and you have to speak to these people. Why haven't we got people like that on a channel, on our television sets, where, you know, at 12 o'clock today, this person's going to be on there and he's going to be talking at you, going through the Universal Credit procedure, going through a business loan procedure, going through small business loan procedure, and all the other things they brought in. Why don't they do that?
Hello?
Doesn't it seem a good idea?
Hello?
Hello?
Hello? Hello?
Hello? Who are you?
Oh, Captain Cusbro.
All right. Yeah, but don't you think that's a good idea? Because you've got a captive audience. You've got people that probably haven't signed on, that don't know how, or don't know what to do. If you had somebody go on there and just show how to fill in a form on the TV, and then put it on YouTube, Facebook.
The big problem there, Cusbro, is this. Because everybody's in lockdown, and because they can't go out, okay, and it's essential, or essential work, that sort of things, you all know, they can't go to these places.
No, I know, but they don't need to.
People, when they go online, if they've got computers, they go online.
That's another question, yeah.
And it's so difficult. You look at it, anything online today, any sort of things you got to fill in. If you've got somebody who knows exactly how to work it and what to do, then they stand a chance.
No.
And that's what happens to the majority of people. That's not just now. This is going back several years.
No, I know, but I'm looking at changing the whole perception of what we do. This government, would deem to be looking to try to do everything it can do, which it says it is, but isn't, because I know that everyone's at home. That's why you could easily broadcast from Universal Credit, from a tax or from wherever, and just go through the simplest forms. Do you know what I mean?
Well, they're already locked down, aren't they? A lot of them. So because they're not classed as essential workers.
Well, yeah, I understand that. People all the time are Skyping in or Facebook Live or whatever into shows and stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I don't disagree with you. However, you got to look at the timeline. But this thing started hitting us, and we've been in lockdown just over a month. And so these people are in lockdown. So they got to try and get up some kind of system together to do it temporary, whatever. And you don't know. Let's face it. Looking on the other side of it, on the government side, and that sort of thing, they're playing it by ear, a lot of it. New situation, and
it is a new situation. But my issue I've got with it is the fact that we are doing that when people like Matt Cock and people like that stand up and say we are doing everything and we are ahead of the game, it's all rubbish. They're just lying to you. The fact is, we weren't prepared because the NHS has not had funding for years. It's been drained of resource, and now they're ploughing money into it. But in regards to, I know they're putting their films out, their public announcements. Why can't they put out a public announcement that lasts half an hour of how you fill in a form? Do you know what I mean? Don't make sense.
Well, because there's so many different forms, and you only have so much time. So all we can do is just knuckle down and rise the storm as best we can.
I feel that after this there will be a massive investigation into the conduct of our government, which I feel have been slow off the blocks, very slow off the blocks, because they knew about this and they still let 70,000 people go to Cheltenham for a week every day because of money. And I feel that these people potentially didn't take it that serious to begin with, even though they said they did. And I feel that then they found out they haven't got a logistics in place. They haven't got all the stuff, and they still haven't got all the stuff.
70,000 people going to Chepstow or whatever, racing.
Cheltenham, yeah.
Cheltenham for a week. It's minuscule, money-wise, as far as billions upon billions is concerned. So,
well, I still feel that at the time where we knew that this is a dangerous thing to be doing, that we put 60,000 people at risk every day. But we didn't act fast enough. You see, in Taiwan, they shut everything down immediately, and they had a very low death rate.
Going back to what I was saying earlier in this conversation, and that was a Brexit. Because all the eyes were on Brexit, what we're doing, this sort of shit, and the coronavirus slipped under the radar.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, the coronavirus is always there.
Parliament, here, then, everywhere, it's all about Brexit, this, Brexit, that. it's on the radar. But what I'm trying to say is that if there wasn't the Brexit thing, nothing to do, anything like that, whatever, might have picked it up sooner.
They might have done, but I feel the Brexit thing was an involvement, wasn't it? It was an evolving thing, and
having said that, but you look at the way Europe is getting together to a degree, and even supplying us that sort of thing, even though we've left, there's not a lot of talk about this.
Well, a lot of what we're getting is come from China at the moment, as well. Hello, Cuz. Are you still there, Cuzbro? Hello. Oh no. Are you there? Hello. Oh, here he is. Here he is. He's back. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened there.
I don't know what happened. Anyway, as I was saying, because we've left Europe and that, they're still supporting us and what have you. And it does make people think, I would have thought, really, that well, maybe it wasn't such a good idea to leave Europe. You know?
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah. I was talking about people being on the television, giving guidance on filling in forms or just having Q&A answer question answer sessions for departments. She said because the departments are scared they might give a wrong answer. Yeah, they might do. I do.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I understand what you're saying, and we all have different views, and that's what the Inview is all about. And that's what makes it a whole. The fact that, you know, we're in a situation because, you know, I don't, even though, you know, we have to abide with the rules and regulations, I don't believe a lot of what they're saying, because they're, in one hand, they're saying this, and another hand, they're doing the most stupidest thing you can possibly imagine. So they're very, very difficult to believe, basically. And that's not me being a radical or a conspirator. That's what I feel inside. And I'm not the only one. There is thousands of people out there that are looking at this government in the way they handle this with complete contempt.
Well, I don't know.
And you have to ask questions. You have to. I mean, look, if this was going swimmingly, I wouldn't have a problem. But it's not going swimmingly because there's flaws. It's a bit like having a car, but bits of the engine are missing. So we have to keep going patching it up with other bits. And patching it up is the word of the day, because I do feel, as I say always, root issues. If you deal with a root issue, if we had a health service that actually was to standard, which it will be after this, whether it stay like that with this bunch, but it'd be to standard. So if we had anything like that again, we would kick into gear a lot quicker, I'm sure. But because it was depleted completely, a bit like the police force depleted completely, then you know, that's why we've had a problem. So it comes back to bite them, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, everything comes back and bites you on the ass.
It does, yeah.
But going back, if I can change the subject a little bit.
Yeah, can I just give you one more comment that's coming? It said Matthew John says, if only everyone concentrated on themselves, only putting out good intentions, helping each other, this round would change overnight. You're not kidding, it would.
Of course it would. But it's not like that.
What do you think of the story I was covering earlier on, getting away from CV, in relation to in Russia, a 10-year-old boy got a 13-year-old girl pregnant? Hello. Eh?
30-year-old girl pregnant.
13. So it's a 10-year-old boy got a 13-year-old girl pregnant.
13.
Yeah.
Well, that was bollocks,
Wait, it's really happened in Russia, apparently. And what about the 78-year-old that is going out with a 29-year-old? Age doesn't matter, does it?
No, not like that. No, of course it doesn't. And as you were saying, 10-year-old boy and 13-year-old girl, and it's been proven that, he's not sexually active. That's a load of rubbish, isn't it?
Well, supposedly, but she's pregnant. So, I mean, unless it's someone else's, but I mean, reading the story, it looks he's been tested, and he's been a young boy that comes up to the waist of the girl that got pregnant. But saying that,
talk all night about the ancient Egyptian.
Yeah.
But
what else do you want to bring up, Captain Cusbro?
Fluoride in the water, that sort of thing. I mean, had this discussion before. So yeah, there's fluoride in the water.
And Matthew's going on about that. Yeah, the corrupted when there's aspartame and fluoride and all this rubbish.
Yeah, but as I've spoken to you before about it, we have pipes underground that have been there 30, 50, 60, 70, 80 years.
Yeah.
Was this kind of solvent.
Stand still. Don't move about. You still there? Yeah, stay. Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, stand still.
There has to be some kind of solvent in the water supply that kills germs.
Yeah.
That sort of thing, in old pipes and what have you. Now, I saw a Discovery Channel program the other day. But that's about the only ones I watch. And they did an experiment with the main contenders, like these mineral waters, your Highland Springs, your Volvic, and 2, 3 others, mainstream ones you see on the shelves.
Yeah.
And they tested them and normal tap water. And the scientists turned around and said, well, basically, the normal tap water is better for you than all the others.
Yeah, there is. Oh, well, there is question marks about that, because obviously, in plastic bottles, there is. I mean, I don't know because I haven't gone into it in great detail, but I do know that there are fors and against of water being in plastic bottles.
Well, of course there is. I mean, you look at a plastic bottle, it's got mineral water written on it.
Yeah.
And it's been running around mountains and God knows how many for thousands of years, that sort of thing. And it's in a bottle and it's got a sell-by date on it.
Do you really think so? They have sell-by dates, and that opens up another question: is the fact that on them sell-by dates themselves, is it all the chemical crap they put in this food? So it does technically. I mean, a loaf of bread never used to go off, but a couple of days after sell-by date, it's got mold on it. Do you know what I mean?
That's penicillin.
Well, penicillin, yeah. You don't need antibiotics. Have some moldy bread.
Exactly. Now we've just come up with the coronavirus.
But I mean, people like cheese when it goes moldy. Actually, that's probably when it's better because it actually matured.
You got Stilton and all that sort of shit.
If you put real food that our parents used to eat in front of people, they wouldn't touch it with a barge pole.
No, of course they wouldn't.
Because
you got to go back. People in, chin up the women's race over what I think it's 16 million now or something like that, or just over. Yeah, this ex-soldier and that walking around his garden.
That's right.
That's just up the road from me in Alton.
Yeah,
Hampshire. There's the oldest man in the world. He's had his 112th birthday.
Yeah.
Now, more and more people are living to 100 plus. Now, you think about it. When they were in their teens, in their 20s, that sort of thing, we're looking.
Stand still. Don't move, Jason. Are you there?
Yeah.
Sorry, Carol, I couldn't hear you. You moved.
Oh, well, you know, these people are living to 112. Look at the oldest guy in the world, and that is now living in Alton, just up the road from me.
Mm.
And I think more and more people are living over 100 years old. But why? Now, you look at it, back in the day, when they were in their teens and their 20s, you know, 20s, 30s. Food then was what? They ate what they could eat.
Mm.
You know, we're not talking about hierarchy people. We're not talking about lords and ladies and that sort of thing. We're talking about general, normal people.
No, they grew their food and they slaughtered their animals.
Exactly. And they lived to that sort of age.
Yeah.
Now,
the problem is, in our reality, we going back to what Linda was saying earlier on, it's the fact that we have so much packaging that didn't exist before, did it?
no, it didn't. But what I'm about to say is, so if we eat everything that's healthy for us, you know, whatever, and didn't eat anything, are we going to live to 160, 180? No, of course we wouldn't.
No.
So it's all about actual health itself. It's all about, I think, it's exercise, being active.
Mentally and physically.
Absolutely. You've got to combine the two. You can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
You can combine physical activity with mental activity by being out in nature, as we all know.
Yeah.
But nowadays, there's too much emphasis on looking.
It's all corporate. It's all corporate, isn't it? McDonald's, Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Well, it's not just that. It's all about looking.
Yeah.
And not being yourself.
Yeah.
It's all about...
Well, and driven by propaganda you get on TV.
Things like that. Well, yeah, it is. There's a lot of propaganda on TV. As I said earlier, that's why I don't watch mainstream TV. I might watch a Newsnight or something like that a couple of times a week just to see how the old coronavirus is going. But apart from that, it's Discovery channels, you know, ancient Egypt and Mayans and that sort of thing. And there's one guy you got to watch, really, there's a program called Expedition Unknown.
I think I've heard of that. Yeah. I think it advertised,
Josh Gates.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a great program, and he's quite comical with it as well. And he just travels all around the world and looking for various things, you know, treasures for this, treasures for that. I mean, lost Spanish treasure over in America, over near in Florida. And then there was another one where he's looking for over in Africa.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be got by the Nazis and all sorts.
Yeah. We're losing you, Jason. Different perspectives, different ideas, different views. It's very important. That's what this is about.
Yeah, all we got to do is keep safe.
Absolutely. Keep safe.
That's what it's all about. It's the best advice I can give to anybody is keep safe.
Yeah. And keep strong.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you have a good evening. And I'm sure I'll speak to you soon, young man.
Yeah.
Bye bye. There he is. That's my cousin there, Jason. Speaking all the way over in Hampshire, of all places. Well, tonight's been an amazing show. We've gone well over what I thought we would, which is really good because we had different people ring in, which is great. I want to tell you about the guests coming up for Sunday. We have got another great lineup of guests. We've got Patricia De Angelis, all the way from Sydney. She's on the show. She's an extremely good guest, immensely spiritual person. Talks a lot about the Dark Night of the Soul. We've got Helen Kernell, has been on before, coming on Sunday as well, who is very creative, very spiritual, very balanced, and has quite a level attitude to today's living. Robert Luther Smith, musician, composer, producer, is back on the show as well. And Mario Morris coming on the show. He was meant to be on a few weeks ago. He's coming on the show on Sunday. So we've got Patricia DeAngelis, Helen Kernell, Robert Luther Smith, and Mario Morris. Now, Mario Morris is a magician. He's a lovely guy. He's immensely funny, but he's very much into all sorts of different things as well. So be great to speak to him as well. They're all the guests on Sunday. You can catch that here. You will see this, and if you can, subscribe and like and share this if you like, because you know this show is realistically brought about because I said it's not about me, it's about all of you and everyone that phones in and anyone that takes part. I come on and I talk about a lot of things that I'm not happy about, and just want to make people aware of, and with yourselves, your comments are valid, and thank you very much. And all the people that have come through tonight, and thanks for the comments for the last shows as well, and thanks for all the people that have rung in as well. And all have a very safe week out there, and stay safe. And I will catch up with you on Sunday here, 7 o'clock, on the Inview, with a load of guests, and then again next week on Thursday night. We're all interconnected. Let's all stay connected. So you can text me anything you want me to bring up or any comments, or you can Facebook me your comments as well. You've been a great guest. You've all been guests. I've been talking for hours. It's lovely to see you all, lovely to speak to you all, and I will see you all on Sunday. So have a good evening, what's left of it. All right, and stay safe. That's the most important thing.